Empire Dragway year-end banquet. I am Chris Marquardt. Joining me at the table a moment ago, right before he walked away, was my co-host for the evening, the one and only Jason Oldfield. Thanks a lot to everybody here at Empire for having us along for the ride for the course of the evening. We're going to be watching a bunch of hardware handed out. We're going to be talking with a number of the drivers, and looks like we're as you can hear in the arena, they've got all sorts of stuff going on here behind us. I thought Jason was going to come and work on this with us, but Thursday night you saw that episode of the Final Round podcast where we had a bunch of those hosts welcoming everybody again to the Final Round podcast for the Empire Dragway banquet here in Mount Morris, New York. We had that episode where we had John Cira, Tim Fletcher, and our grand champion, Brad Perkins, in the studio to talk a little bit about their seasons. They're going to be recognized. The Western New York Super Rod Association going to be giving out their hardware as well. That's where we're going to see Jason in a little while. We're going to do our best to bring you a little bit of the commentary as those guys get their hardware up there at the main stage. We'll try and maybe we can even get a little preview of how packed this place is. It's unbelievable how much stuff they've got jammed in here. This is a very, very busy venue, as you can see. Going on behind us, here comes Jason. So right in the middle of starting the show, you disappeared. Get that bad guy.
All right, so can you hear me? All right, we can hear you. All right, sorry about that. Yeah, I went off to make sure that everybody knew where to find us online. So it looks like we're live at this point, right?
We are live. Looks like everything is working. Obviously, we well documented the struggles that we had this week. Still trying to get to the bottom of what happened to Finger Lakes 1 as a whole. A very challenging situation for Finger Lakes 1, which is where all of our stuff airs, both for Crash Course Podcast, Final Round Podcast, and the 31st Lap, our racing show. All of that stuff disappeared inherently when the account was, as they said so eloquently on the post from YouTube, terminated. It was gone.
Right.
They've lost all their content as well, and of course, I mean, in the information age that we live in, with the internet and things along those lines, nothing is ever fully deleted, but it certainly seems at this point like it's been hidden pretty effectively, and we can't access it at this point. So we jumped on the Smashed Empire Films, a very aged YouTube account that I've had around for a long time, since back when we were doing DVDs. We'd load the highlight reels as a promotional tool for when the DVDs were released, and we ended up using that, and so far we seem to be okay, and had a great phone call with a couple guys out in Indiana and South Carolina with some exciting things to come going forward for both Crash Course and potentially for the drag racing community here in Western New York.
Well, that's great news, and yeah, the Final Round podcast link going down there, the Finger Lakes 1 TV account going down was certainly disappointing, but yeah, it was definitely not going to stop us from coming here tonight and making our best effort to get this broadcast. We had a lot of excitement from our last show, having Brad and Tim and John on, so Brad Perkins, Tim Fletcher, and John Cira Jr. on. It really generated a lot of interest in this banquet. I have to say that we had a lot of people. We kind of were getting this going last minute, so hopefully people will forgive us, cut us a little bit of slack. But yeah, we had people chasing us down here. That's where I was off, starting the show a little bit late here, is making sure everybody knew that hey, we're on the air. Let's do
working.
it.
I saw the Germanos are here.
The Germanos are here as well. Yep, I'm sure. My guess is that they're doing the 470 Thunder Awards as well. So Dan should be here collecting his banquet. We did a pretty good job, honestly, of lining up guests and trying to get all the Empire champions on. We had Frank Francis on, so Frank is here too.
He crashed the party.
Yeah, he crashed the party, but we had him on as well,
yes,
right, as a guest. So yeah, we had a good portion of the Empire champions on this year.
Pull that a little ways away, just a tick.
Then I think in a couple of weeks here, I think we're going to get. Some more people on as well. Division I Super Comp champion Ed McLeet, I believe we're going to have him on the show in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, we got a good lineup of guests coming up here. And, I have to say, I really feel like we're breaking new ground here and, being a little bit of pioneers, I guess. If you looked at the NHRA banquet, the Division I banquet, even the national banquet for the sportsman racers, those guys, the only way you get to see that banquet is if you actually go out to Glendora and go to the banquet itself. So same with the Division I banquet in Hershey, same deal. I have never seen, essentially, other than if somebody had a camcorder or their cell phone, little snippets of recorded information at a banquet. So being able to do that, I think is going to work. I think there could be a lot of people really excited about coming out and being able to go online and see their loved ones and friends, collect their hardware live. It's pretty darn cool.
I think they've somewhat oversold. I see they're still setting up more tables to try and accommodate everybody. This place is packed.
Yes, this place is packed. I have to say, Jerry's done a real good job. Jerry Scacia, the track owner, obviously a lot of people are really excited about the things that he's done. And, obviously we have more people here than we had expected. So, hopefully they're not going to come to us and say, hey, we need you to get the heck out because we need more room for people to sit down and eat dinner.
I know they're about to start the buffet back there. The awards that they got lined up over there are awesome.
They are. I have to say, I was impressed, honestly. That was not really what I was expecting. I am really impressed by the hardware that they're handing out tonight to their overall champions. There's some really nice trophies out there. Brad Perkins, his Grand Champion trophy, I mean, that thing's got to be at least 6 feet tall, I'm guessing. But then I guess we'll call them the Ironmen. They might not be actual IHRA Ironmen. I'm not sure if they are or not, but they're a nice-looking trophy that they got over there.
Very nice.
Yeah, I have to say, I'm jealous. I don't have one of those, and I'm jealous. So
You'll get one. Well, it's going to be easy because you can get one of those, and then you can get that big tall trophy next year because we all know that Brad doesn't repeat.
That's right. Yes, he has admitted that, right? That he can't repeat. So, hey, I will say one thing that maybe we want to tell people too that I think the Final Round podcast obviously is fairly new here, and we have kind of some new viewers, new watchers.
Let me interrupt you real quick because I know where you're going with that. I want to build this point and then let you finish yours.
Okay.
On the topic of the stuff that was lost.
Yes.
We're going to be rebuilding the Final Round page, and because the show is so new, I believe that we still have all 7 local recordings already.
Yep.
So we should be able to get all those episodes recovered, and the MP3s are still okay.
Okay. Well,
so you can hear the MP3s, you just can't necessarily do anything with it. But yeah, I know where you're going. Go ahead.
Right. Well, hey, it's Jerry Scacia. How about that? Hey, Jerry. Good. Yourself? Good.
I gotta have you sit here and eat. We ran out of tables, so when you get your food, sit here. I used to do that.
That's no problem. No problem. Yeah. We got so many people here that Jerry just came over to tell us that we're gonna have to eat at our broadcasting table, but that's okay. Yeah. We'll be good.
200 some people.
It's a nice problem to have.
Yeah. 200 and some people, Jerry just told us that are here. So yeah, that's a really good. Thank you, Jerry.
Every one of them's leaving with hardware, right?
That's right. Yeah. We'll definitely get Jerry on later when things calm down a little bit and he has some time after he presents all the awards. So, so we definitely want to make sure that we don't. We want to get as much back, I guess, as we can. Obviously, what's there, but one of the things I wanted to mention is that we had people. We had John Pelican call into the show when we were at the Finger Lakes One studio. There were questions. People were texting me, and we have new viewers that really don't know how to submit questions. So, Chris, what is the best way if people want to submit questions either to us or to to the drivers or to people that we're interviewing? How should they submit questions?
Through Facebook. You're finding the links through Facebook. That's generally the best way to do it. If you go on the Final Round page, which you go right there on the front where this link was, if you go on there, you can find my profile. And you can message me right there, add me as a friend. I want to hear about where you've been. I want to hear about what you're driving. I want to hear about what the car. I love how many of these stories continue to come out. I didn't realize this was as extensive as it is. It makes perfect sense now that I know it, but It didn't click in my head. How many of these cars have been passed down from generation to generation? Yeah. Some of these cars are in their 3rd generation of racing, and they were bought new.
That's right.
I mean, when your daughter takes over the keys of the Corvette.
Yes, I mean, at this point, my Corvette's been in our family for over 50 years.
Right.
It's pretty crazy.
I mean, talking with the Fletchers,
right?
There was 2 Camaros.
Right.
One of them was bought new as a car to drive in high school. The other
Right.
one was bought to build as a race car. They
That's
both
right.
ended up as race cars.
That's right.
And then he ended up getting his hands on the Copo,
Right.
which was what the GM factory race car,
Right,
which was
right.
just as cool.
Yeah, and that's definitely I have to say overall it's not just it's not just the Fletchers. I mean, you have many examples of families. That's one thing that's really nice about drag racing in general is it really is, and I think this is probably true for a lot of auto racing as well, is that it's a family sport. You get people that go out to the track as families, and wives pitch in, and maybe they're not mechanically inclined, maybe they're not there helping tune the car, but they still help, and it gets right down to it when you'll hear where these guys are thanking people later. If they're married or have girlfriends, serious girlfriends, you'll hear them thank those people because it takes a total team effort. I mean, my wife, every time we going away for a weekend, it's like I hop in the motorhome and it's all loaded up with food, ready to go, and she takes care of all of that, and that's big. And then the family comes out, and obviously at some point in time, kids get interested, and next thing you know, they're kicking their old man out of the seat and taking over.
At least you'll still have the trailer.
That's true, I guess. Yeah, we'll see. Actually, I got. I might. The whole trailer issue that we've kind of joked about left and right here since back in October. I have a lead actually on somebody that might be able to repair this for us. So yeah, hopefully in a couple of weeks I might know more about my trailer. We're getting my trailer back to where it was. So we'll see.
Already, people that are from within our circle are already familiar with how to do it. We're getting messages from Kentucky and Kansas, people
really?
watching right
Wow,
now.
that's great.
Just checking out what the venue's all about.
That's great. Hi, Clara. You're actually blocking our camera at the moment. Clara Skeisha.
Where are you going to sit to eat? There's 2 chairs up there. Up here.
We'll sit right here and do the show and eat.
No, you get to sit at a real table.
Oh, this is fine. We're broadcasting, so we're good. Yeah. Until 10 o'clock at night, probably.
So
in honor of Tom and Nancy Kroer and Frank and Joyce Benage, Frank has donated $1,000 towards the Empire Dragway building fund. Nothing would please Frank more than to add your name to the list of distinguished ladies and gentlemen contributing towards that fund. Let's all work together to make your track everything it can be.
So recognizing some folks that have made some of these upgrades that we talked about on Thursday possible at Empire Dragway. We're going to try and juggle a little bit because our microphones are set now. We should have one more of these someplace.
We have 2 more of these.
I'm looking for we want to keep one with us, and I need the other one.
Okay, well let me get those. I'm just trying to be Chris's assistant here. So, do you care which one it is? So here's one there.
You've now done as much as Brian Tompkins has ever done on our show, on the Crash Course side anyway.
I might not be good here.
Uh-oh.
'cause, so that one goes with that one. And let me get this box out of here. And we got a rat's nest.
We've
right
had
now.
a lot of people
There.
inquire as to why we don't go wirelessly, because if we went wireless, we wouldn't have these problems. it wouldn't
would
be
be no
nearly
fun, right?
wouldn't be nearly as much fun.
Well, thankfully nobody's been sitting here watching us fool around with all of our microphones at this point. So I think for the most part, it's going to be a show that for the next little bit probably will be pretty low key. You'll get to listen to Chris and I think, talk for probably the next hour. Generally, dinner is scheduled from, let's call it 7 to 8, and the actual festivities, the hardware awards are supposed to start right around 8 o'clock. So right around there, we should hopefully start to get that out. And like I said, for the next 45 minutes or so, you get to listen to me and Chris talk for a while.
Just banter a little bit. Let's talk about some of those upgrades. And there's more crazy stuff coming that people are going to be loving. Is it anticipated they're going to break that news tonight, or are they going to hold off until they get it all placed?
That's a good question. I don't know. I'm hoping that that Jerry brings it out and tonight because I would love nothing more than to be able to broadcast that live to everybody. But yeah, I mean the tower is a big upgrade, but there's some pretty big upgrades here on the horizon.
That's nothing compared to the new stuff.
Right.
The
right.
tower, great. Air
Right.
conditioning, awesome.
Right.
Wait till you see this.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I'm pretty darn excited. So yeah, I hope that we can get Jerry on and to kind of talk about some of these things that he's doing because it's pretty exciting.
In terms of the tower, what was the tower like before they went through and did all this stuff? Because I mean, obviously racetracks all over the place. They're always looking to make improvements and improve the grounds and things along those lines.
Right.
What was the tower like before?
I will say that it really wasn't bad. I mean, I've certainly been in much worse. From a tower standpoint, the biggest issue that Jerry really had with regards to the tower was its proximity to the racetrack. It was set, from the racetrack itself. I'm going to guess it was set back probably a good 100 feet, which made it very difficult for the people working in the tower to see, the cars that were coming up, the numbers, the dial-ins on the car. So that made it difficult. So the girls were in there. I'll call them girls. I mean, the ladies were up there in the tower with binoculars trying to read dial-ins, and if you didn't have your dial-in big and bold on the window, they had a hard time seeing it, and that can potentially affect races if guys don't see it. So,
And Dan doesn't put it on his last number on.
That's right.
Until he gets his tires heated up.
That's right. Yeah, and that definitely is an issue. Is that you do have guys that wait until the very, very last minute. So it's not like you can go down the lanes and pre-enter all of your dial-ins 5 minutes beforehand. Because if you could, that would make it easier. So, but I mean, upstairs it was not bad. I mean, they had a little air conditioning in there, but I mean, there wasn't a lot of room. And a big problem, I guess I would say, I don't know if it was a problem, but an issue that they would have is that anytime someone had an issue that needed to be resolved, they would come to the tower, and the broadcasting area, the PA, where the announcer was not separated from the rest of the area very well. So you always had people barging in and essentially then, basically coming over the PA system with whatever their issue was. And now we're going to be able to separate that. They have the huge hospitality area that they built into the tower. And really the biggest thing is just the fact that now it's going to be right on top. So we shouldn't have the visibility issues for people from the tower that we did previously. I would say Chris is just getting a couple of notes entered in here as we continue.
We have to have a staff meeting on Monday, which we now have multiple topics to talk about on Monday.
This sounds pretty official.
That we got to have everybody from Crash Course is going to be there. Josh Decker's going to be coming up, and we're going to be talking about a handful of things that have transpired in the last week. And we got some cool things coming.
Yep.
We've got some very real possibility that Crash Course will have its own pay-per-view link that will also be able to offer free content from studio shows, which would also lend itself to some of the conversations that we had. We've looked at the Empire Dragway schedule.
Right.
There are opportunities. I don't know if it's going to be a weekly show or it's going to be one that's more compelling, tied with some of the special appearances. But at this point, we will be doing a live event from Empire. At some point, we will have a live one.
That is very cool. Yeah, that is very cool.
I am wondering what we're going to talk about, though, because in explaining what you guys were telling me about how it starts at 3 o'clock and cars are making passes continually, barring any oil on the track or something, straight through for 8 hours.
Yes.
I mean, what are we going to talk about? Because there are so many drivers. I mean, it's going to be, we're going to talk about this guy for 10 seconds, then it's going to be right on to the next guy, one right after the other, one right after the other.
Yeah, well, that's right. But I think in this particular case, I think what we'll end up having is, not only will we be talking about the action that's going on the track, but at the same point in time, we'll certainly have a carousel of guests coming up and interviewing with us while we're there, right? But I have to say, this is going to be really, really cool. There's no place.
It's really, really new.
Yeah, well, it's really new, and I think that people in general, I hope that people in general will cut us a little bit of slack again. That this is still a learning process for us. But at the same point in time, there is nobody around here from a local standpoint in New York or even Pennsylvania that I know of that does this. So I mean, to live broadcast our races, and not every single one, obviously, but even just to do a smattering of them is going to be pretty darn neat.
The Final Round podcast apparel line will be coming out here in the next couple of weeks too, so that we can pay for it.
Well, hey, I mean, why not, right? I mean,
why not?
I'll definitely sport my Final Round sweatshirt and hat either around the pits or at home. I mean, there's no doubt about it, and I'm sure that other people would to help support this. I mean, obviously, when it gets right down to it, to be able to do broadcast live from the track, it's not free, right? I mean, there is an inherent cost there. And none of us are doing this to get rich. I mean, I'm not getting paid a penny to do this show. This is basically
you're making double what I make.
Right, and this is being done really to bring more exposure to sportsman racing around this area, right, and in the Northeast, and
right.
So I mean, from that standpoint, that's
we've talked to guys from Ohio, and we're going to get guys from Pennsylvania.
That's right.
Matter of time.
That's right. So that's why we're doing this. But there is still an inherent cost associated with it. So yeah, we need to try to figure out how to help defray some of those costs. Thankfully, right now, so far, our costs have been pretty limited with doing the studio shows. But hopefully we'll be able to potentially get a sponsor on board, maybe to help with that. And yeah, if we can do some apparel sales to help, I think you'll get people that will help support that. People have shown that. I have to say, NHRA has done their. I think it's called NHRA All Access, I think is what they call it. And there's a lot of people that have paid for that. And I have to say, it's been less than a stellar product. I can't tell you the number of complaints that I've heard about people, trying to go online and seeing results, and, they're just not even broadcasting. It's like, well, this is what I'm paying for. I'm paying you $100 a year, and I'm paying to see the sportsman racers, and you guys aren't even broadcasting, and or the link's not working, or the audio's not working. And I mean, I realize that there are technical issues, but that's for a large corporation that's really doing this. And I've really felt like for the last 5 years that if you were to set a static camera up, or a couple of static cameras up, one that showed cars go down the track and one that showed the scoreboard so people could see who won and lost, they'd be happy just with that. Now you start talking about having a couple of guys there actually announcing the action as far as what's going on. That's pretty darn cool. And even if we were to look at some of the other media outlets that are out there doing this type of thing with drag racing, for the most part, what all they're really doing is just kind of tied into the PA announcer, and they just have static cameras,
right.
And that's it. And then they have somebody kind of break in every once in a while. But to actually have somebody, let's call it doing a real broadcast where you're watching the action on the track and then commenting on it, again, that's not happening these days. So.
I'm excited about it. I'm definitely looking forward to getting in there and being a part of it and learning more about it. You're however making my heart race, because you're talking about static cameras, and now I'm already worrying about how are we going to arrange it. We got to put the board here, we got to put the computer here, we got to have this much space dedicated, we got to have a camera facing this way, it'll meet us at halfway, and then we can watch the end of the track, and we got to make sure that we can see the boards.
Well, I haven't even brought up the drone yet.
Nope. Nope. You can keep that right in your pocket too.
I say, because I mean, to be perfectly honest, before you and I even met, that was something that I had been thinking about, because the video footage that you can get from a drone is pretty darn cool. Now, there is an issue, I guess a potential safety issue. It's like, what do you do? I mean, obviously you can't have a drone that's flying literally over the track as cars are going down it, just in case something happens.
Okay, so go on.
But I've seen, again, some pretty cool videos from people at drag racing as they flying around the pits and doing those types of things. It's like, how do I integrate this technology into doing something cool? There's got to be a way to do it. Now, are we going to get there?
Just
baby steps, right?
Just wait.
Yeah.
Because those are conversations that we've already tested.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. And again, I'm willing to take baby steps at this point.
How cool would it be is if you could put a camera and watch the pass from inside the car as it happened?
Oh, and that would be very cool. Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, I will say there's a lot of us out there that have GoPros. So, I mean, we go and watch them.
I've got 12 of them.
Afterwards. But, yeah, nothing as essentially the car is actually going down the track.
Right.
So
and even if we just upload it after the fact, just as a special feature.
Sure.
It'd be
sure,
just as cool.
Absolutely.
And
I will say Jerry is very excited about this too.
Is he?
Yeah, he really is.
He's a different walk of life promoter. Back to the drone thing real quick. We had a guy, we were at Hartford Fair for a derby. Hartford Fair is down in Pennsylvania, and we've been down there, like 6 years in a row now. That was one of the first fairs that got on board with us doing their DVDs.
Yep.
And we had the opportunity to go down there and hang out with those guys for a little while, and made some great contacts. and there was a guy there that had a drone. And he was going to fly it over the track and tape the Derby action and then upload it to YouTube after the fact. Now, I didn't, whatever you think, man, go for it.
Right.
Well, all the Derby cars had stacks.
Okay.
So you got 20 V8 engines out there going at the same time, and he couldn't control the drone because of the air turbulence from the stacks coming up.
Yeah.
It was, we all learned something that day.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I have to say, I've wondered about, the communications between the radio and the drones are certainly pretty darn good, but I've wondered about potential interference as well. But the nice thing is that most of them have technology built into them. The better ones have technology built into them, such that if they lose radio communication, they basically
just
go
come
into
home.
Right. Yeah, they come exactly.
What you need to do is when you dial in home, put it on top of one of the cars.
Oh.
So that way, if it does have to land, it'll sit right on top of the car as it goes on the track.
There you go. Perfect. Yes.
What could possibly go wrong?
Or right at the starting line, even. Right.
Ideal.
That'd be perfect. Right.
Ideal.
Yeah, that'd be ideal. Right. So we're pretty excited about some of the stuff that we got planned for, or at least we've talked about for this year. And again, it's
planned is a fair word. I mean, we're trying a lot of new things, and the response tonight is pretty cool. We've got Derby people that are weighing in, watching this. Now we've got Pennsylvania and Kansas.
Oh.
Just wanted to see what was going on.
Right. Well, that is pretty darn neat. And I have to say that my daughter actually. So my daughter came out. You met my daughter. She came out one of our shows and sat and watched. And she's just really, really excited about me doing the podcast. I have to say that my son and my daughter know a lot more about this than I do. They watch, YouTubers, Markiplier, and some other guys that I don't know. That these guys make literally millions of dollars a year doing this, right? And but when I told them I was doing a podcast, it was like I was their hero. All of a sudden, it's like, wow, you're going to do a podcast, and so it's pretty darn neat. And I have to say that overall, let's face it. My kids, my 12 and 13-year-olds, do not watch generally regular television. They spend their time on the internet, right? So this is definitely the wave of the future. We as, I guess, racers have to kind of catch up and start embracing some of this technology that's available to us. Because at some point in time, it's like, well, why would I want to go out to the racetrack when I could just sit at home and watch it online, right?
One of the things that we've noticed in our travels, and again, this being in its infancy, I suspect that the model is going to trend the same way. If we get the chance to go to some of these tracks and show people what it's about, it's going to create destination shows. Once you see it, you're going to want to go see it.
That's right.
And that's what we need to do for all these local tracks, is just find a way to drive traffic to it. Because if the tracks go away, then none of this matters. This doesn't work, and neither does anything else.
Right. Yeah, and I have to say, I'm pretty excited. We have here. You probably didn't see this. You were busy kind of setting up all the hardware. But some of the handouts that we got here, for the year, were some of the schedules for next year. And, for, one of the big series, obviously, that we run in is the West New York Super Rod Association. So, the schedule at this point is still fluid. It's still early in the year. People are trying to figure things out. For us in particular, we're already on the schedule for Memorial Day weekend, for Labor Day weekend. And then there were a couple other, I think, single dates in there. But one of the things that we had talked to the guys from the Mid-Atlantic Supergas Association a couple of years ago about potentially doing a joint race. And at the time, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. And I see this year that they have scheduled, I think, a couple of races at New Media, Pennsylvania, which is down north central Pennsylvania. And that is, aside from Empire, that's a very, very close track for us. And if the Mid-Atlantic Supergas Association is running there, what I would really like to do is I would like to try and get the West New York Super Rod Association guys to go down there and do a joint race between the two of us, combine our payouts.
So when you say a joint race, you guys are pooling and everybody's sharing the pot, or is it almost like a more along the lines of a challenge race where your group is against their group?
Well, I have to say, my initial thought, I would love to do a challenge race. That's what I would love to do. I don't know that you could actually... I don't know how to pull that off. I think if nothing else, though, it would be very cool for both of us to basically go there, and it would be a points race for the West New York Super Rod Association. It would be a points race for the Mid-Atlantic Supergas Association. We pool our pots. winner goes home basically with all the money, let's call it. But then they get bragging rights too, right? Hey, yeah, we're the baddest of the bad with regards to super gas racers on the East Coast. Rob Keister, he runs the Mid-Atlantic Super Gas Association, so I'm hoping he's open to that. I think their race is the second week of July or something like that.
Take your top 4 points after you run the points bracket or the points program. Take your top 4 points against their top 4 points
and do a separate challenge.
Do a separate challenge race.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. It's funny because NHRA does the Sportsman All-Stars race. And what they do essentially is from each division and each category, they take the top guy basically in the points. We'll make it simple. That's basically what it comes down to. And then every year now it's in Chicago. Everybody goes to Chicago and they race the All-Stars, and it's a team thing. So it's Division 1 in the Northeast versus Division 2 in the Southeast versus Division 3 in the Midwest. And at the end of the day, they tally points, and then there's a team championship.
Right.
And it's the only time that you have guys that are really cheering for each other.
Right.
I might have to race you in Division 1, and you might be ahead of me in points, and I'm waiting for you to lose because I don't want you to get too far away from me. But here we go, Chicago. You're the guy that is representing Division 1.
Right.
Yeah, I'm cheering you on.
Right.
And you also get cross-category guys cheering on as well. So you have guys that generally don't care or don't follow, let's call it the alcohol classes, cheering for guys that are running Super Gas and Super Cup, trying to bring home more points to the division. It's a cool deal. I don't know that I'll ever have the opportunity to race in the All-Stars. I mean, that really is the best of the best.
Right.
But that's a really cool deal.
Need a trailer first anyway.
Yeah.
So-
and I need to improve a lot as well. That's probably the biggest problem.
You're talking about cost,
Yes.
and we added some cost today.
We did?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
We added a $10 air compressor that can't build pressure. $7 can of fix a
I
flat
say
that blew to pieces.
Can't fix a flat, right.
Got a flat tire on the van right now. It's sitting over at the Family Dollar. We're got to tend to that a little bit later on.
Yeah, nobody heard that story.
Oh my God, there was an arduous process getting down here today. Friday morning we left for school and the tire went flat and there was a screw about that long jammed right through the center, right between the two treads. So I left it there. Took my mom's car to work. Got almost there and the fuel light came on. So I'm like, I hope we can make it. Got there, got back, got the tire fixed, and the plug has begun pulling out. So I was just getting off of 390. The light came on, was on the throughway, but there was enough heat to keep the tire up a little ways, and then once I parked it, we were done. Yeah,
I have to say that I guess I kind of feel like the gods have been kind of transpiring against us here, right? Trying to keep this from happening.
A little.
But
we rise. That's what it is. Just
that's right.
Keep fighting.
Yep. Yeah. So hopefully we can avoid some more of these types of catastrophes going forward.
I'd like to avoid it.
Yeah.
On the topic of Memorial Day, we got Kyle Polly, who is a phenomenal chef who hosts a party at the Bash for Cash every year.
Okay.
Just pointed out he's working. He's originally from the Kentucky region, Owenton region in Kentucky, but he's working in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. He's watching us right now, and he said that Crash Course is already booked for Memorial Day, but you can have us any other date.
Oh, okay.
And that you might be better than Josh Decker on the show.
Well, where in Pennsylvania is he?
He's in Bloomsburg.
I wonder where that is. Is that like central Pennsylvania? It's if we were able to pull off this race at New Media, I'm wondering if that might not be a bad locale for us to do. If not, Labor Day weekend would probably be a great weekend as well.
It's New Media.
So Chris is doing a Google map search right now in Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. So I see Route 11. So Route 11 I'm familiar with. So 11 and 80. So Bloomsburg's not far from Williamsport, and so New Media is not very far from NUMIDIA. There you go, New Media, Pennsylvania. So that is
18 miles.
So if we could pull that off, right?
We could have Pork Chop come and cook for us.
Yeah. So New Media would definitely be ideal if we could pull that off. So Rob's probably not. I'm hoping that Rob is watching. It'd be nice if Rob was watching. I don't know if he is or not. But hey, Rob, if you are watching, I'm going to be calling you so we can see if we can do this race. But if not, if any of the other Division I guys that race Mid-Atlantic Supergas Association are watching, if you have some interest in this, talk to Rob because we want to do this. And if we can combine our purse, I mean, I think we could do potentially a $200 or $2,500 to win pair of Supergas races in New Media when you guys are going up there. So I think we can make it worth everybody's while to go down there.
That'd be awesome. You said that if he's close, he's coming.
Well, if he's Bloomsburg, is that
yeah,
what
but
it
if
was?
work takes him out of Pennsylvania to go back to Michigan or something crazy, we'll have to find a track in Michigan.
Colin sick. I can feel. I can feel he's not feeling well. July 8th and 9th or whatever it is right now. So yeah, we'll see what we can do. See if we can make that happen.
What else have we got on the schedule? The schedule for Empire just released.
Yeah, there were a couple of big, and I have to say I haven't studied it in depth, but there were a couple of big events that they have. I mean, you can see right on their main brochure here, and you're not going to be able to see it. So we got pictures of food that Kyle's sending us, and of course we don't have food in front of us yet.
No.
We're still waiting to be served, and I don't even know if they'll serve us. Quite frankly,
It might not happen.
It might not. Well, that's
fine.
That's hazard pay, right? That's why we do it. But yeah, I'm sure if you go on the Empire website, which is
Empire Dragway.
EmpireDragway.com,
Yeah.
you could probably see the schedule. But yeah, they have a couple of big ones, big races. Certainly one is the Gold Cup, which is a really, really cool race. If you like the older style cars, the old gassers, Anglias, Willys, and those types of cars, the Gold Cup is really a really, really cool race. So that's July 21st through 23rd. I did see that they had a wheel stander booked in. I see they have Nostalgia Pro Stocks scheduled in Saturday, July 22nd. They had those guys out last year.
So when you say Nostalgia Pro Stocks, what's that specifically?
Basically what that is it really is old Pro Stock cars that come out to Empire or any track, and they race heads up. So
That's cool.
It's a cool deal. So I mean, you'll see. I think last year, they had an old Grumpy's Toy. I think it was a Monza that they had out there.
Yeah.
They had it might have been Warren Johnson's old one of his old Camaros, like '72 Camaro or something like that. Maybe a Sox and Martin car.
Now you're talking.
And I forget who else, but they had 4 Nostalgia Pro Stocks out there that were match racing and running heads up, and it's cool to see those old cars. It's part of history. I have to say, a lot of guys look at them and think they're crazy because it's like, why are you racing these cars? You shouldn't be racing them because they are the original, they are the real deal cars generally.
Is it something that somebody found or had the ability to buy? Like they found it and then restored it because it moved through and it was no longer what it was, but they returned it to what the paint scheme of prominence. There's a bunch of circle track groups that do the same thing.
Right. Yeah,
those are always so cool, but they say the same deal. It's like they wanted to upgrade their motor combination so they could run current small blocks in these things, but it's still the technology from the 70s,
right?
And it gets scary. I mean, it is not designed to handle the horsepower of current production.
Yeah, back in my uncle raced Pro Stock in 1970, part of the Motown Missile team from 70 through 73. And when they started in 1970, they set the national record, and I want to say they went 970 flat, somewhere around there.
Sneak up and get a plate.
We'll try and do that. Thanks, Jerry. Okay, all right. Jerry's telling us that we need to go get food if we're hungry. So we'll see. We got more important things to tend to at the moment. But so I think they went 970 when they set the record in 1970, and it came down pretty quickly. But even as late as the 80s, I mean, I think Pro Stocks were only running in the mid 7s or the low 8s. High 7s even, and at that point then they went down and got as low as now I think they're running. They were just testing at Bradenton this past week, and I think I heard that Greg Anderson, I think he went low 650s, which is the fastest that anybody's gone with the new fuel injection setup.
Right.
Now, granted, it was minefield conditions, so I mean, it was best potential weather conditions you can expect. But still, I mean, 650 is pretty darn cool. But yeah, there's a big difference between a stock chassis car that these guys were running in 1970 and what they're running now, which is all tube chassis race cars. But yeah, to get back to your question, what these were essentially is these cars are cars that got sold off after they basically were no longer useful in the Pro Stock category. were turned into different bracket cars, and then eventually someone stumbles across them and says, hey, I think I have so-and-so's car, Sox and Martin car, or
Right.
Grumpy's toy car, and do a little research, come to find out that that's what it is, and then restore it to its former glory, and of course they're crazy enough to go race it then too.
One of the neatest cars that I can remember from pro stock racing. I mean, Jake Coughlin's cars were always pretty, but Bob Glidden's Motorcraft Thunderbirds from like 87, 88, 89,
Yep.
those are always so pretty with that two-tone paint.
I have to say I'm a big Bob Glidden fan,
Yeah.
and back you wouldn't think I would be because I'm a Chevy guy and I've been a Chevy guy my whole life. So I mean, I'm sure people are like, well, why didn't you like the Rare and Morrison cars and like Lee Shepard and Bruce Allen and those guys? And it's not that I didn't like them, but yeah, there was just something about Bob Glidden that I really liked. I loved the fact that he was really low key, understated, and just an all around nice guy. And those Thunderbirds were definitely really, really cool. One of the worst crashes I ever saw was him when he barrel rolled his Thunderbird at Atlanta. That's kind of a legendary crash as well, because the first thing he did when he got out of the car, and the car comes to a stop. He exits, and the first thing he does, he takes his jacket off and he throws it over his intake manifold, because that's where a lot of his technology was that he didn't want other guys to see. And so, I mean, the guy had wits about him to, try and protect that, right? And but yeah, that was a crazy, crazy crash. If I don't know if we have the technology to be able to show it to people, or if we're legally able to. But if not, just go search online. You'll find Bob Glidden crash Atlanta, and it's a crazy, crazy crash to watch.
A friend of mine that I met through journalism, he was a writer for the Canandaigua Messenger, Ron White, worked
Yep.
on the safety safari for NHRA
Oh, really?
for a long time. So he got, and this was in the 80s and early 90s, Kimmy Bernstein and,
Yeah.
and Don Prudhomme, that era. And he was working with them and was there for one of Shirley Muldowney's crashes.
Okay.
And he said that it wasn't one where she was hurt or anything.
Yeah.
But she come out of the car just mattered in a wet head, and he goes, we couldn't even go check her out because we were afraid we were going to get knocked out.
Right, yeah. Yeah, she's. I have to say that Shirley's. She's a tough woman. There's no doubt about it. And you wouldn't want to cross Shirley Muldowney. That's for sure. She's definitely an interesting person too. She actually has a charity now. I forget that she works with. And I want to say it might be Shirley's Kids or something like that. That she basically spends her time trying to raise money for kids. It's a nice thing for her to do. But yeah, obviously, it was hard for her. She was obviously a pioneer, right? Guys didn't like the fact that you had a woman that was competitive, and you can say what you want as far as her being able to be the best tuner, whatever else out there, but. She was a good driver and was able to get those cars down the track. And, she basically spent doing it. So, and the guys didn't make it easier on her. That's for sure.
No, definitely not. The we were talking about the gassers.
Yep.
And the wheelies and stuff. The gassers are a fun glass to check out. I mean, I haven't a chance to see them in person, but in some of the travels and some of the shows that we've been to see, they're just such a cool looking car.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt. And the gassers are really making a huge comeback. I want to say this. So there's a couple of series, and I'm probably going to butcher the names because I don't know them. And I don't know if Dan Delaney is watching or not. Dan, if you are watching, I'd love to have you message me on Facebook and or send me a text message. But there's like the Gasser Gang of Western New York and the Gasser Racing Series, the GRS, and those are kind of the big series. And I'm pretty certain, if I recall, that they only have really two categories that they run. So let's call it, they run a slow class and a fast class. Let's just call it that. And I don't know what the difference is really as far as where you move from one to the other, but they generally get...
How fast they go.
It could be. It could be. I honestly don't know. But they generally get, 60, 70 cars
kidding.
out at the track. It's incredible, the number of cars out there. And now you have a guy, Quayne Stott, down, I think Quayne is in Virginia, North Carolina area. So Quayne ran Pro Modified for a long time, back when Pro Modified was at its height, kind of in the early mid-'90s. And he just recently started I'll call it a gasser series as well. Now, in this particular case, it's a heads-up gasser racing series, and I heard rumors that at the last race last year that they had something like 50 cars. And this was, like I said, this was first one to the finish line, no breakout.
So the gassers, those guys prefer to race heads up? Is that a general thing? Or because I always thought that the gassers ran brackets just like timestamp stuff.
I will say the guys around here generally run brackets, but I mean, in general, I mean, the guys that are running the gassers in a lot of cases are old school guys, and if they have the finances to be able to do it, I mean, they like old school drag racing, and old school drag racing was first one to the finish line wins. The problem is it gets very, very expensive, but Queenstodt Series is really, really cool. Yeah, so I would, I don't know if they'll ever travel up this way or not, but I have to say I've seen some videos of him driving online. Actually, him and his kid both drive a gasser. Queen drives a Willys, and I think his kid runs an Anglia, if I remember correctly. And they have to be manually shifted. They are cool. They are neat. Short wheelbase, a lot of power. They're a neat car to watch. And and the gassers again out at Empire are a really, really neat car to watch. I mean, they're really unique. They're old cars. They're original cars, and they're just really, really unique.
Original cars is a term that you hear about. Barrett Jackson and all these classic car shows that you go to, and how original is original when it comes to drag racing? Is it as blurry a field as the resto stuff is?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is because, like I said, where do you draw the line, right? So if you have...
It's an original 69 Camaro. Well, the only thing that's original and steel on it is
the roof and the quarters.
And
that's it, right?
It's on a tube frame and everything.
Right,
crazy.
Right. Now, a lot of that stuff, honestly, is because of safety. I mean, you don't want guys running real glass in their cars if they're going super fast and they have the potential to, flip upside down.
Sure.
Going to Lexan in that particular case, if the car is fast enough, definitely makes sense. But most cases, guys are usually running some type of fiberglass front end or doors or hood.
Are there purists that argue this stuff? Or is everybody generally okay with it?
Yeah, because around here it's brackets, everybody is okay with it. Now, I don't know the rules with Queenstodt Series. I mean, that very well may say it's got to be all original steel doors, front end, all the rest of it. That's what I would expect since these guys are running heads up.
Right.
But they probably also have a minimum weight as well that they have to make, so guys probably don't mind it so much. But the lines are definitely blurred there a little bit. But
I like this. Turn the page here, and the nostalgia gas. 1967 and older, and the car has to be 8.5 or quicker.
Yeah.
I mean, so we're talking ultra wheelbase cars, right?
Oh yeah. Though, I mean, and that is definitely fast. I mean, 8.5 seconds is a fast car. So I mean, overall, I will say that I think, and I don't think in general, but I think that they are generally running eighth mile. I don't think they are running quarter mile, but still 8.5 seconds is a pretty fast car. And then they have, then that's a nostalgia gas is 8.5 seconds. Then they have mod gas that runs at 7.5 seconds and quicker. But they're definitely cool classes. Very, very popular with the fans as well, as you can potentially imagine.
Well, I mean that taps into all of that American graffiti nostalgia.
Oh yeah,
everybody gets to relive that.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I have to say, if my budget was unlimited, I would definitely have a gasser. There's no doubt.
What would you have?
That's a
55
tough.
Bel Air Chevy guy.
I have to say, 55 Chevy is probably my second favorite car to the 63 Corvette, and 63 it's always going to be near and dear to my heart because I am biased. Overall. The 55 Chevy would be very, very high on the list.
Chris Polly just told me that he knows of derby cars that can run 8.5.
Well, I've heard what those guys are doing, so I can definitely believe it. Those guys are crazy enough to put that kind of modified drivetrain into
And you don't have to worry about glass because there's no glass in it.
There we go. So,
perfect.
Well,
it rolls over, there's a halo.
And it doesn't say here that it doesn't have that it can't have dents in it. It just has to be older than 67 or 77.
Right.
So bring it on out.
So that's the mod gas class.
Mod gas, you got to go 7.5. That's getting pretty quick. I'd be
77 and older. So I mean, you can see we're getting a little bit closer to a lot of the Camaros and stuff start creeping into that.
I was gonna say, are you guys seeing in? I mean, I know we're straying off topic from drag racing here, but do you guys see cars of that vintage out at the derbies still?
What do you mean? Like what? I don't understand your question.
So would you see a '73 Camaro out at a derby?
A
Or?
Camaro, no, not that year. We saw several 77, 78, 79 Camaros.
Uh-huh.
They're nasty tough.
Okay.
We saw Fox body Mustangs
Yep.
are crazy popular in Ohio for the mod classes.
Yeah.
Luminous, W body, stuff like that.
I guess I could
Pintos,
see,
Pacers.
I guess I could certainly see like a '76 or '77, Caprice
Mustang
Classic
2s.
or Caprice Classic.
77, no.
No?
76, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. The stuff that's real popular now is any like 71 to 76 two-door Cadillac.
Okay.
Rivieras.
Yep. Big.
Electra 225 four-doors.
Yep.
Chevy wagons, 71 to 76, the roundback era.
Yep.
Mopar wise, same time frame, like 74 to 77, 65, 66 to 68. All the Y framers, those are real popular in certain circles.
Yep.
But in terms of stuff that you could also see drag race, the Mustangs, mid 90s Mustangs are tough. Last year at Blizzard Bash. 2 years ago at Blizzard Bash, in the Compact Outlaw Division, Compacts, we
Okay.
saw a 66 Mustang.
Wow.
And it was really nice.
Say,
He was a Chevy guy. It doesn't bother you. I mean, you're not even losing sleep over
yeah,
that.
I guess that's it, right? I'd say hopefully there was no Mustang guy sitting in the stands watching that. He was probably puking blood as he was watching that.
Just so everybody knows, there is going to be conversation periodically about demolition derbies as we compare notes, just because sometimes it's fun to make our listeners squirm a little in their seats.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean, I have to say that I do get people that aren't really crazy about the fact that I drag race an original '63 Corvette. But I mean, as I explained to people, well, number one, it wasn't my fault. I didn't turn it into a race car. But number two,
You had no say.
I had no say, exactly. But number two is that, when it was done, when it was turned into a race car full time, it was a 7-year-old Corvette, so nobody really cared.
Right.
It would be the same as, today, doing it to a 2010 Corvette. Nobody would really care.
It wasn't special then.
Right, exactly. I mean, the number of guys that cut the center, the split window out, to convert their 63s to 64s, and continually did that. I mean, they didn't think anything of it at the time because it was just a Corvette. So yeah, I get that. I get that occasionally. But one of the things I wanted to just mention too, is we were kind of talking about the Empire schedule, was some of the other things. So July 1st, they're going to have a big show out at Empire. They're going to have not only their normal 8th mile race, but they're going to have the wheel standing Studebaker and yeah, it's actually a really unique vehicle. So Chris is looking at it now, but
That's crazy.
So they're going to have wheel standers and professional fireworks display there on July 1st. Then also on on August 12th. I don't know if it's the same group of guys or not. I'm guessing that it probably is. It's basically the Supercharged Warriors out of Ohio. So it's so today they're now called. I'm thinking it's the same group, but they're called the Ohio Warriors Supercharged Thunder Racing Series. But it's a pretty interesting. It's a really entertaining. So as you could expect, all the cars are basically supercharged, and they generally do an 8-car show match race. Really entertaining. So that's August 12th that those guys are coming out. Then in addition, obviously we still have Western New York Super Auto Association that's planning on being out there for at least 6 races. We have the 470 Thunder program that's coming back out again as well. We have the TNT Super Series, the 1090 guys coming out. I saw that you had the Can-Am Stock Super Stock Series. I know those guys ran out there at least once last year, but I think they're going to be out there out at Empire twice this year at least. And that is a really entertaining show as well. The Stock Super Stock guys are really cool cars. If you've never seen them, I would definitely recommend that you go out to see that.
Stock, super stocks, those are basically the cars that they can drive to the track, correct? Those are the ones like we talked with John about?
Well, so I mean, John
Similar?
Sears'
John
car,
Cera?
I mean, that's really street ET.
Okay.
So I mean, but if you were to talk about stock is NHRA Stock Eliminator, which has many restrictions with regards to what can be done to the overall car. So they're going to have full interiors. They have to be basically stock body panels, glass, and then they do just really crazy restrictions with what you can do to the engine as well. So it's, and I'm not an expert in this. We'd have to get somebody on that really knows these cars to kind of talk about what you can and can't do. But you know, they let them do some things. All right, you might be able to run aftermarket stainless valves, but you can't change the overall valve size. You can't massage the heads at all. You can't do any porting and polishing of the heads. And then Super Stock is basically the same thing, except they let you do more modifications to the drivetrain combination. And those cars get really fast. I mean, like Dan Fletcher's Copo. I mean, that car is in. I think he can run in stock and super stock with the Copo, depending upon how he runs it. But yeah, he can run. That car can run in the mid-8s in the quarter mile. That is a fast car. And with the restrictions that they have, it's pretty crazy. So the stock super stocks are, like I said, they're a good show. Then the other thing too, obviously, is that Empire still has the IHRA Summit Pro-Am race coming back out in end of August. So that's a big race. And they also. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'm not sure who's going to be there, but they currently have on July 1st, where they're going to have the wheel stand. They have Jeff Lutz scheduled to come out with his Street Outlaw truck, and that is a fast car. So I'm sure he's been in the. I don't know if he's been in the 5s in that truck, but he's been deep into the 6s, so it'd be interesting to see him match racing somebody out at Empire. We'll see.
What I didn't realize when we were talking with John about his truck, John Cera on Thursday, which was one of the now in the annals as a lost episode for present. We're going to work on getting that stuff back.
We'll get it back.
John Pelican, he's calling in and asking me what happened to Thursday and what we did wrong. It's like we kind of hit on some of that stuff. We'll probably revisit again here as we work our second hour.
Right.
I lost my train of thought. What I didn't realize with John Cera is when he said it was a GMC, in my mind he was talking about like a Sonoma Cyclone, something along those lines. It's a full size.
Oh yeah, that's a
GMC Sierra.
Right.
It's a legit pickup truck.
That's right. Yeah, it's a full size truck, and I have to say I give the guys credit that do that. A lot of cases what you end up seeing is that eventually, after many years, guys will tire of driving the vehicles because of the fact that it is such a big vehicle. So you really are, you're trying to do things the hard way. You're driving a brick down the track. So as you start getting fast, it gets really expensive to make a truck, let's call it, a full-size truck, go really fast because you're trying to push air with no aerodynamics at all.
Do you do anything inside to direct the air under it that's coming through the grill? Is there anything that you can do to try and make it more streamlined? Because it's a slab-nosed brick. It's not. It wasn't designed to be aerodynamic. It was designed to do work.
Yeah, I mean, there are things that you could do. So, I mean, you do block off the grill as much as you can. I mean, you can put spoilers underneath and belly pans to try and get the air around it. You can do, I don't know if John's truck is going to have a cowl induction hood or if it's going to have a real hood scoop, but you can seal that off to make sure that air that's coming into the hood scoop is basically being shoved down the carburetor to make power. So there are things to do, but at the end of the day, unless you take that nose and highly modify it to make it more swoopy, it's a brick. That's what it gets down to.
As good as it's going to be.
It's as good as it's going to get, right. So, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, he expects his truck, I think, to run, he said, in the mid-11s, I believe. And it's not too bad at that point. We have a couple of full-size trucks that run out at Empire fairly regularly in the, I want to say, low 10s, high 9s. And that generally, I'm going to say, and again, it's a generality, is about as fast as they get because usually guys get to that speed and they're like, all right, I want to go faster. I'm going to ditch the full-size truck and I'm going to go to something that's a little more aerodynamic.
Are those tube frame trucks? Or are they still on original frames? Like, what do you do for weight reduction?
Right. Yeah. Generally, those trucks that you're getting into the low 10s and high 9s, those are tube trucks. And and I won't say that they're not necessarily back halved. But yeah, they're generally tube chassis vehicles. Huh.
They sort of have to be.
Yeah.
Going that fast?
Right.
You want it to be.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, because I have to say, it wasn't until after the show when we had those guys on, I thought the same thing. I was thinking of Sonoma, because that's a fairly popular truck to have, but that's a drag race with. But yeah, no, we're not talking to Sonoma. It's a full size GMC pickup truck. It was a step side, I think, though, right?
I only saw the nose, fenders, and hood.
Oh, okay. I think it is a step side, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it should be interesting to see.
So does that make the bed more aerodynamic?
It probably makes it worse, right? The indentation there probably collects air. It probably makes it worse, if anything. But
You'd want the fleet side. You just got to fix the nose.
Yeah. So it
97 F-150 is a little more swoopy.
Yep. It's the little trucks. I like the little trucks. I don't know if you ever
Like the S10s
did you ever
and
see the
stuff?
Pro Stock trucks? You ever see those?
Oh
guys
yeah,
race? So Pro Stock trucks. Actually, the other day I was on YouTube someplace and stumbled across.
There was a Dakota, which
Right.
was so cool.
Right. Yeah, there were the Dodge Dakotas, the S10s, and the
Sonomas
Rangers, the
and
Ford
and
Rangers.
the Rangers, yeah.
And yeah, they were cool. That was a cool class. Heads up, small block engines. Yeah, NHRA pulled the rug out from one of those guys. There was a lot of really upset guys when they did that. But that was a really neat class. And the interesting thing is there's a lot of those, because of the class being around for, I'm going to say 5 years. It probably wasn't that long. It was probably only 3-4 years. But there's a bunch of those trucks that are still rolling around and have found themselves in Comp Eliminator and in the super classes as well. So you'll see them in super gas. And what it did also is it made a market for aftermarket bodies and for guys. So yeah, you'll still see a bunch of guys that run the smaller pickup trucks in the ET classes because they're cool looking.
Well, that came about right about the same time as NASCAR when they released they debuted the Craftsman Truck Series.
That's right. Yes, that's right. Yep. Yeah. It was a neat series. I was disappointed to see them have that class go by the wayside. Who knows what the issue was there? But on the plus side, there was a lot of 358 motors that ended up, because that was a very popular combination. So there's a lot of 358 motors that made it into the sportsman ranks, and a lot of really cool trucks as well that made it into the sportsman ranks for guys to run as they became obsoleted at the pro level. So.
Did you hit on the Supercharged Warriors yet? Coming in the middle of August?
So I did mention them briefly, right? Yeah, so they're coming in the middle of August, and again, they're basically they generally book in an 8-car show. It's a match race, all supercharged cars. They're pretty entertaining. If you like loud, smoky, vibrating your seat. Funny, the old announcer at Lancaster, Paul Schneider. God rest his soul. You'd have guys Vince Rostelli and Fred Hahn. Vince went on to run Top Alcohol Funny Car. Fred Hahn ended up being Pro Modified champion, running Jim Otte's supercharged Corvette. But those guys would come up and do their burnouts, and Paul Schneider, if that didn't put a tingle in your dingle, I don't know what will. And they do. I mean, they shake the ground, and they are loud, and depending upon, I don't know if these guys from Ohio, if they're running just alcohol or if they run any nitromethane at all, so if you'll get any sort of header flames coming out of those or not. But it's a fun car to watch. And those are Bantams and Fiats. And I'm sure you'll see full-body cars, too. I don't know the series extremely well. But,
sure.
Some really interesting supercharged cars. And there was a big following of guys from around this area. Another guy comes to mind, Frank Malveso, out of Rochester. He had a supercharged dragster that was one of the fastest around in this area back, I'm going to call it the mid-'80s. So there's a lot of guys around here that did that, and we're really interested in those types of cars. So it'll probably be a popular show when the Supercharged Outlaws come out.
The IHRA divisionals are coming up couple weeks after that. The Supercharged Warriors are going to be there the 18th, 19th, and 20th. That includes on the 19th the $5,000 gamblers race.
Yeah, so I don't know if so last year, Ted Barnes with the TNT series on, I'm going to say Friday night, they did a $5,000 to win 1090 race, so that was a real big hit. And then on Saturday, unfortunately, the $5,000 gambler race got rained out. But yeah, this year we have it on the schedule again for the $5,000 gambler race. Again, I don't know if TNT is going to be doing a big dollar race as well that weekend. But yeah, that's a really great race for the racers. It's a double IHRA race. So I mean, last year when we were there, basically we were planning on racing 4 races. We had the 2 double IHRA races, the TNT race, and the $5,000 gambler race. So you could travel to Empire for one weekend and run 4 high dollar races in one weekend. That's pretty nice from a racer's perspective. It keeps your travel costs down, obviously, and there's a lot of racing going on. And that's a big show. I don't know how many cars Jerry had at the track last year, but it was pretty darn full. It was pretty full. So that's a good show, and I'm definitely looking forward to. And I know a lot of these improvements that Jerry does to the track are because he wants to have these bigger shows and these bigger events come back. And,
Just wait.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt.
You're gonna be able to draw guys for sure with some of these coming improvements.
I certainly hope so. I really do hope so. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty interesting to see what everybody's reaction is when Jerry does kind of announce all the things that they've done to the track. And I think you're going to have people not only not only from around this area, but from outside the area that travel up to Empire, be really impressed with the stuff that's going on. And we haven't even talked about some of the things that he's done with regards to improvements to the concession stands, improvements to the restrooms that he's done, not to mention new pit road paving and stuff like that he's done in the last year and a half. He's done a lot of work out there, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see the track come to where it's at today.
Empire Nationals, the crown jewel event for the track, and sharing the namesake, scheduled again for Labor Day weekend. We talked a little bit about that. You've got a double duty event with Saturday and Sunday, but that's 3 big numbers: $1,000 for the first night, $1,500 and $1,500 for Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah,
it's nice regional numbers.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you'll definitely have guys that like from the Western Super Auto Association that will double enter. So in this particular, like at the IHRA race, the points race, they race one race to completion and then start the next race. What we'll do on this particular weekend is we'll be basically intermingling rounds. So you'll have guys that'll be running what we call round robin, basically going down the track, immediately getting down, cooling their car down as quick as they can, and going back up the lanes, because now they just ran the box race for $1,500 to win. Now they got to come back around and run Super Rod. So it'll be interesting.
So some discussion happening here as one of our event hosts reminding everybody of the raffles that are going on.
That's right.
Silent auctions and things here in the facility. Great place. I've never been down here at this facility, and once we found it, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, it is nice. Jerry had his, I don't know if he does it every spring. I came down last spring. He has the track meeting, drivers meeting here.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's a nice big banquet area. I mean, we got, again, over 200 people in this place right now. Sitting here for the banquet. And the facilities are really, really nice. And what's nice too is the fact that we have the hotel. I think it's a
courtyard, isn't it?
Country Inn and Suites.
Country Inn, that's it. Yep.
Which is a decent hotel. I've stayed there multiple times, and so I got the hotel attached to here. So a lot of people come down that are traveling for the banquet or travel for the races, come down and spend the night. And it's a nice facility. It really is. I think, and I know that these guys also support the track as well. So certainly if anybody's ever coming to this area, if you're going to Letchworth, you're looking for a place to stay in the Mount Morris, Letchworth, Leicester area. Certainly I always try to. It's the support the people that support you thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Definitely. I would recommend people check this place out. And again, it is. I'm a bit of a hotel snob. I've done a lot of travel for work, and I do have my minimum absolute requirements, right? And the Country Inn properties are generally nice places. So
just met all of them.
Yes. I don't do the Sleep Cheap. I don't do the Roach Motel. I don't do those. I would sleep in my car, honestly, before I would do that. So, but yeah, I see it's 10 after 8 already. Where is the time gone? My God. So yeah, I would certainly expect that they'll probably be starting the actual awards here very, very soon.
We're going to try to be able to bring all that to you. We got a camera rigged up so we can follow up the drivers and should be able to hear a lot of their speeches and comments.
The people at home watching will have to pardon me looking at my phone. I'm just making sure that I'm not getting messages, people texting in and trying to ask me questions. So
it's a part of the live element. We find
right.
ourselves doing that sometimes too much when we go to some of the events that we do. But yeah, I'll always have my phone with me. I'm checking this and checking Facebook, monitoring the stream. This information tells us everything that we need to know about what's going on with the live event in terms of the speed and where everything's going. It seems to be working pretty good right now. We got a great signal down here.
Well, that's good. Can you tell at the moment how many people are actually viewing the stream? Is that possible?
That right there is usually, like I said, that number is usually off by about, that represents about a third of what's actual.
Okay.
And so we're
and
looking.
like I said, we had a lot of people, a lot of interest heading into this, where people wanted to be able to watch the banquet from home. People that weren't going to be able to make it for one reason or another, and I'm sure you have plenty of people that out of towners, things of that nature, family, friends that can't make the trip, but would certainly be really interested in seeing their loved one or friend take home the hardware. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see overall. I guess what the feedback is. They'll probably say the show was great, except for Jason, is my guess.
It's possible. Well, that's why I'm asking dumb questions.
So yeah, I don't see anything at the moment.
Let me see that brochure. There was something else I was going to ask you about inside that thing.
Inside the brochure itself.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about one of the events. This one over here. It's quick nostalgia with electronics. So nitrous blowers, turbos, they're all okay. 5.5 seconds. You got to dial in. Full tree. I mean, dragsters, roadsters, altered wheelbase cars, door cars. 500 plus a trophy to win it. So quick nostalgia. What are we looking at with that combination when it says that you add electronics? You're taking the nostalgia car that we talked about earlier and adding current electronics to it for boxes and stuff like that, essentially?
What you have is there's a lot of guys out there, like myself. I'm an electronics racer, and I have an interest in racing some of these other categories, but let's take the Gasser series, for instance. The Gasser series is specifically stated no electronics, and I don't, for one or two races that I'm going to be able to race, still I'd be interested in running with the Gassers. I don't want to have to basically take my car and take all the electronics out of it just for one or two races that I might be able to do. So in general, what happens is I don't compete in those races. It looks like, and I wasn't aware of this particular event. It looks like what Jerry has seen is that he's probably gotten enough feedback from people that, hey, you know what? I'd like to compete in this class, but I have electronics in my class. So they've actually come up with a class that is a 5.5 second or quicker, but you can run with electronics. So you're going to have a bunch of guys out there doing that. Obviously, any of the 470 Thunder guys are probably going to be out there running it. But again, the difference with the 470 is a pro tree. So this is going to be a full tree, 5/10 full tree. I think it said that. I know it was a 5/10 tree. I think it was a 5/10.
It was 5/10.
5/10 full tree. Where again the 470 series is a pro tree. So guys not used to the pro tree are going to be able to run in this. Guys that typically go fast enough but don't have that have electronics and can't take them out are going to be able to run this. So that's it's probably on the schedule. Was it on the schedule for one date? Just looking here. I'd have to look at the schedule because he has the class, but I don't see any dates specifically. So I'll have to look at the schedule to see where it is. My guess is it's probably going to be a trial thing for Jerry. It's like, let's try this 2-3 times, see what kind of support we get, and if people come out and support it, then we'll go and do it some more. I know that one thing that Jerry has done is that in years past, he's run top sportsman and top dragster categories. So again, here's an opportunity for the guys. We don't run top sportsman. I'm pretty sure there's no top sportsman and top dragster specifically. So here's an opportunity for those guys to run in that particular category. So
how? I mean, 5.5 seconds. You're not out there very long going that fast, and you have to be that fast and better in order to even qualify. So what happens if somebody comes there and for whatever reason they can't get their car to hook up or something and they're doing 5.7?
Well, then they can't
their
race.
time trials, it's washed out. They
That's
can't
right,
go.
that's right.
Just simple as that.
Mr. Perkins, it's the grand
All right.
champion himself. I would say, well, yeah, you can see, you can definitely just see Brad sitting up there. You done with dinner?
I am done with dinner.
But you got to be ready for awards, right?
This is Matthew Vogler.
Matthew?
This is Matthew.
Jason Oldfield, very nice to meet you, buddy.
What's up, buddy?
So,
Oh, really?
Wow.
Talk about that.
So,
He wanted to meet you too.
Hey, buddy.
Chris Marcourt.
Hey.
and are you going to be on? You going to sit down and be on the show with us?
All right.
You got
There's
time
a headset
right
right,
now?
there.
Oh, I gotta.
Sit down.
You know what? Let me move over, buddy, so you can get in between Chris and I in here pretty well.
There. Let me slide over this way. You slide over this way,
There you go.
and then Jason can slide over, and he'll still be
so this
on the
goes
show.
Right over your ears.
And it'll
like
hop right
that.
there. We'll get you set up. Get you turned on. That feel all right?
Yep.
Okay. So, what was your name again?
Matthew.
Matthew Vogler, right?
Yep.
So you qualified in the junior dragsters to go run in Memphis. Is that what I was hearing?
Yep. Memphis, Tennessee.
And what? Tell me more about the qualifying process and what it takes to get down there. What did you have to do in order to go run there?
Oh, well, we traveled around the country. We went to Maryland a couple times, Pennsylvania, and a couple other places around the country. And there were divisional races, so we had to. There were points, and the amount of points you had. The top two amount of points went to Tennessee, and I lost that number one about mid-season, and it was only by a few points.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I won a couple races, and then I kind of slacked back a little bit.
Now, how old are you?
I'm 11. I'll be 12 in 2 months from today.
How'd you get into drag racing?
Well, my dad kind of went when he was like, my brother's 15, and he used to go when he was like a little kid with his friends. And ever since then, like as I've grown up, he's taken me and stuff. And we went sometimes, and we saw the juniors, and we were like, oh, that's so cool. And then it just happened that we bought my brother one, and then when I was 8, I got my first one and started racing.
Are you better than your brother?
Don't tell him, but yeah.
Good answer.
That is a good answer. So, Matthew, and you have to excuse my ignorance because I am not really familiar with how this whole qualifying thing goes. So this is an IHRA.
Yep.
So this is really on a national or regional scale, right?
Yep.
We're not talking about just a local, you were the qualifier from Empire. I mean, you
Yep.
had to go out, like you said, go to Maryland, go to Virginia, go to some races there, do well enough to be able to then get invited to Memphis and race in the World Finals at Memphis,
Did you
right?
catch
Yep.
he was saying he was number 1 up until mid-season?
Right, which is pretty darn incredible.
awesome.
Now at
Yep.
Empire, I'm looking at the points here. I see at Empire you race in the Junior B program.
Yep.
So I know they have a Junior A and a Junior B, and again, you have to excuse my ignorance because I don't know. But tell me what's the difference between the Junior A's and the Junior B's?
There's an age group. It's from 8 to 12.
Okay.
It's Junior B, and then from 12 to 18, it's Junior A. So it
Okay.
splits it up kinda, and so that way like it's fair for other kids who are like not as
Yeah, it wouldn't be
Just
fair for a
starting off-
16-year-old to race against an 8-year-old.
exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Right.
So last year I was 890, which is the second fastest.
It sounds like it would be completely fair for a 16-year-old to race you.
yeah, probably.
Yeah, I would guess that's probably true.
I raced a couple. Well, yeah, I've raced a couple before, and I've beat them. I've lost to anybody. It's anybody's game. It doesn't matter. Anything can happen to anyone.
Right. Now, do you guys ever race together? So do you ever do at a normal event at Empire where you have a Junior A winner and a Junior B winner? Do you guys then race each other to see who's the grand champion junior dragster racer of the day?
Well, there's
I would think if nothing else, it'd be fun from a bragging rights standpoint, right? It's like,
Yeah.
all right, I was the best Junior B guy, but I want to take you on, beat you, and be able to say I was the best guy here today.
Yeah, well, at the end of the season, so whoever has the most points in Junior B and Junior A, they run off, and it determines who goes to Memphis for the Summit Super Series.
Oh, okay.
And Paige Montgomery, she she won the Junior A points.
Yep.
She had to run off against Brooke Adams.
Okay.
And she won, so we traveled the country with them.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
Okay.
And she was number 2 also.
Oh, she was?
Yep. So she had to go to Memphis also for that. But she also went for Summit Super Series, which is a
Right.
whole different thing.
Right.
And you can't race the same car. So she had to borrow somebody else's car.
Oh, really? You can't? Why?
It's
That's
because
weird.
you get more practice.
Oh, okay.
you'll get
so
more
they
practice
would
than other
consider it an
people.
unfair advantage
Yes.
then.
So it's
Okay.
evening the
Yep.
playing
Yeah,
field.
Yep.
yeah, interesting.
Wow.
But then obviously that immediately put her at a disadvantage, right? Because now
Yeah,
she's
no
racing
question.
somebody else's car that she's not necessarily used to, right?
Yeah. So we went. I think it was like October 8th weekend.
Yep.
We went to Pennsylvania,
Okay.
and it was called the Beaver Bash. There's like 100 cars or so.
Yep.
And it's an all run, so it means any age group, everything. It's all into one.
Okay.
And she went down, and there's many different races and stuff, like different, and they do split into age brackets, and then there's all one race.
Yep.
It's like a lot of money.
Okay.
And so she did this one race, and she won it.
Yep.
And the person's car she was borrowing,
Yes,
because they
okay.
wanted to test it out for
Right,
Memphis.
right, yep.
And she won top beaver in that.
So she
So, like-
obviously did. She was pretty comfortable driving
Yeah.
somebody else's car.
Yeah, she won top beaver, which is like what they call it because it's called Beaver Springs
Right.
Dragway.
Beaver Springs, right? Yep.
So she's a really good racer. I don't want to say too much in case you want to interview her later.
Well, yeah, we definitely would like to have Paige on later. No
yeah.
doubt about it. And
sure.
I know her dad, Sean.
Yep.
I've known him for a long, long time. Obviously, he was a drag racer too, right?
Yep.
But yeah, she's a good racer. But obviously, you hold your own too.
That's Paige Montgomery.
That's
Yep.
Paige Montgomery, exactly. Yep. And I think she may have.
She won the
been-
A.
She
I'd say
won
she
A.
was
Junior
junior
A
A.
points champion.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
so
Anthony, that's your brother, right? That was second.
Yep. He started off way down at the bottom. He was number like 9 or something like that in the points, because we had a problem with this car that we couldn't figure out. We were like, what is going on and stuff, and Paige's dad figured it out,
Oh,
because
okay.
we changed the throttle cable, and it was the amount of whenever he hit the gas, it took about like a quarter of a centimeter to react
Okay.
to go. It's
Yep.
not it doesn't seem a lot, but it really is when you
yeah,
look at
yep,
it.
Absolutely.
So
It was hurting her reaction times, probably, right?
Yes.
Right.
And so we fixed that in Pittsburgh, which is about, I think it was like July.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, he moved right up. He was just every week he was just going up, and then he ended up in second. He gained like probably 6 spots from July, so he did really good after that. And at my home track, I went on I think it was like a 6 or 7 weekend winning streak.
Wow.
I won every
Not
weekend
bad.
for like six days, 6 weekends.
That is pretty darn impressive, I have to say.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, right? Doesn't matter what level you're racing at, to be able to win that many weeks in a row is
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Regardless of the level that you're racing at.
Yeah, because like I said, anything can happen to anyone.
Right.
It's not like
That's right.
it's
I mean,
anything.
just the fact that you didn't red light one of those weekends,
exactly,
right?
yep.
So that is a really, really difficult thing to do. Now I see here that you guys are from North Chi-Li.
Yes.
So you guys go to the Churchville Chi-Li School District?
Yep.
Okay. I was wondering if you potentially went to the Gates Chi-Li School District, because that's where my kids go.
Oh.
So how long have you been racing now? You can start racing junior dragsters when you're 7? 8.
Well, now it's changed. Like NHRA,
Yes.
I think it's down to like
I
5.
think it's 5 now.
Yeah, I
right?
think IHRA is still 8 though. I started racing when I was 8.
Okay.
Because my birthday's in March.
Yep.
So April is like the first start of the
Right,
season.
right.
So I was like perfect timing.
It was perfect, right?
Yep.
Right. Well, that's cool.
Yep.
So you've been racing now for 3 years. So is it 8 and 9-year-olds, and then 10 and 11-year-olds? So you're going to run 890 again this coming season?
I'm running 790 this
oh,
year.
you get to move up this
Yeah.
year to 790. Okay.
Yep.
And you're looking forward to that?
Yeah, it's a lot faster, and I can't say it's easier because it couldn't be harder, especially when you're spotting 1290 cars. That's a lot. It's a lot of time you have to wait, and you get off focused and stuff. So
you're going to. This is going to be your last year in Junior B then?
Yes.
Oh, your last. definitely your last year
Yes.
in junior B. So then
Yep.
you got to move up to junior A.
Yeah, because you can't be 13 when you're in junior A.
Right.
So you
right.
have to
Okay.
move up
Okay.
next year.
All right. Yeah, and yeah, so you're actually going to be giving people a 5-second head start.
Yep.
That's
And it can be hard, sitting there waiting, like, just because you get off focus. If there's something that flies through the air, like an airplane or something, you're on board.
Right.
You can look at that and be like, get all off focus. Your reaction time can be
now
all
at
messed
890,
up.
what kind of mile an hour were you running?
About 70, 71 to 73 or so, like
Okay.
around there.
Now at 790, what do you expect to be running?
82, 83.
Okay. And at 12, what are they running at 1290?
1290 isn't. It's 1190 in IHRA, but NHRA is 1290.
Okay.
But some cars do run 1290, like just cause.
Okay.
But they go. My sister has that. She goes like 50 to 55ish.
I have to say that is really, really good practice
Yep.
to learn how to drag race. Because
What do you mean?
so he's going to be when he's racing in junior B,
Yeah.
he's going to be racing against cars that only go 12.9 seconds in the 8th mile. While this year he's going to be he's moving up to the fastest for this age category, so he's going to be going 790. So that 5-second difference equates to about a 30-mile-an-hour difference at the finish line. It's very difficult to judge how close,
Oh, absolutely.
closing on somebody at a 30-mile-an-hour difference. It's really, really hard.
Yep.
So these guys are still bracket racing. So basically what it comes down to is you want to try and beat your competitor to the finish line by as little as possible. Well, when you have a 5-mile-an-hour difference between the two cars, it's pretty simple. You can tell because you get a long time to sit there and look at them. But when you're at a 30-mile-an-hour difference, he's going to be closing probably in the last 30 feet in
Yeah.
the last second.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So he's going to be way behind, closing like gangbusters, and going to have to make a decision. All right, do
Yep.
I hold my foot to the floor and
Or
try
rip.
to take the stripe, or am I not going to get there? And it's hard.
Yeah,
that's
is.
really hard.
Yep.
And that's good. That's, like I said, that's really great practice for these kids to show them, because that's a big part of bracket racing. There's a reaction time aspect of it, but driving the top end is a big, big thing. And
Yeah.
so I didn't realize there was such a huge mile-an-hour difference. That's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and then when they're going out, like you said, you're not going to catch them right until like
Right.
almost the finish line, mile-an-hour marker.
Right.
So then you have to either drop it or start whipping on them if
Right.
you have one. So it's kind of hard to judge. Like that's why it can be harder to race the slower, like the 1290 cars.
Yep.
People are like, "Oh, you got such an advantage. You're faster." No, that's not true.
Right. Yeah.
And it's probably easier to race a 790 car than it is a 1290 car because you're right there. You're right next to them, and you can
Now,
play
when
the
you,
game
when
all
you
the
move
way
up
down.
to junior A, can the cars go faster than 790?
No.
I would say the fastest
No.
they can go is 790,
Yep.
right? So once you get to junior A, basically everybody's got a 790 car.
Well, some people just don't want to, or some people can't afford it,
Okay.
because they are expensive. So
Yep. Now
it depends
Do
what
you
you
cut
prefer.
lawns to help pay for the racing?
I work with my dad because he has a side business, so I work with him a lot.
Okay.
And I try to pay as much as I can, but
I say you got to earn your keep. I mean, racing's an expensive sport, so you got to help try and pay for that, right?
Yep.
And the other thing too, do you work on the car? Do you help fix it?
oh yeah, that's all. I'm like every week we have to change the oil and stuff, and I'm the only one who does that.
He
Like,
runs his own maintenance program.
Yeah,
It's
right.
fine.
yeah, I don't maintenance my car.
Well, that's good because I
Oh.
have to say that was one of my dad's rules when I was young. It's like if you want to race the car, you have to be able to fix the car.
Yep.
And if you can't fix it, then you can't drive it. So, yeah, that's great. The fact that you get a chance to work on the vehicles too. That's pretty. That's pretty darn cool.
Yep.
So now tonight you're gonna take home the hardware for finishing second in Junior B, right?
Yep.
And your brother's gonna take home the hardware too. So what do you get for finishing second?
I get a pretty big trophy.
Which is cool.
Yep, pretty cool.
And just so you people know, out in internet land, there's no participation trophies in drag racing, right?
No. You have to win.
Right. Yeah. We teach kids young. You got to go out and actually do well to get yourself a trophy. So.
Yeah, I went down to when we went down to Beaver Springs, Pennsylvania. When we went with the Montgomerys.
Yep.
It was an all-run field, so I was racing all from 8 to 6 or 18.
Yep.
There were 70. I think there were like 78 to 76 cars or something like that.
Okay.
And I got down to 4.
Wow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That is really awesome. Yeah, that is really awesome. Now, I'm curious, do your parents have any rules, like with regards to, now obviously once you get to racing season, school's out, but
Yeah.
they have any rules with regards to, okay, you got to get a certain grade level, there's going to be no racing this summer, or?
Well, I mean, my grades are pretty good, so like I don't really need to worry about
Oh,
that.
okay. Well,
but
that's good.
I mean, I'm sure if it did come to that, like if I was failing in classes,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they would say something like that.
Right.
But
You
for the
get good
most
grades.
part, yeah.
Okay, well, that's good. So, all right, aside from
Not
professional race car driver, what do you think you'd really like to do when you get older?
I don't know. Still trying to figure. I'm definitely gonna race. I'm never gonna stop racing.
You like working with your hands? I mean,
Yeah. Yep.
So, if not a professional race car driver, a professional race car builder.
Yeah. Maybe. That could be something. Yeah.
or crew chief on a professional team
Fabricator.
or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, I have to say, when I was your age, it was all about racing. That's what I wanted to do. Is I wanted to somehow be involved in racing, and I was not good enough. I was never anywhere near as good as you are. So I was not good enough to go on and be a driver. So what I get stuck doing is I get stuck being an announcer and an internet podcast guy. That's about my extent of my capabilities.
It's what you want to do. So.
I do have a passion for drag racing, so
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting. So are you missing dessert now? Is that?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay, you're good. All right.
Yeah, I could sit here and talk all night.
You could talk all night. Well, I have to say, you are a natural. There is no doubt that
Doing just fine.
that you are good at this. And we've had some other guests, I will say, that are much more difficult to have a conversation with because you ask them a question and it's just yes or no and that's it. You're a much more engaged guest, that's for sure. And
We've had a couple little guys on our show before. One of them was Bryce, Pork Chops boy Bryce. He came on with us a couple times, and he was just a chatterbox. And I forget the boy's name. I think it was Mike Henshaw's kid was with us down in Stoneboro, and he did a great job. There's been a couple times we tried to have kids on, and they just climb right up. He's been clamoring to get on this thing, I guess, with the way that Brad was talking.
Yeah.
Brad's like, sit down, give him the headset, and
now did you have any idea what we were doing here, or did?
Yeah,
okay.
I watched Brad when he was on the
you
other
did?
night. Yeah.
Oh, so we got an actual viewer as well. Well, hey, thanks for watching, buddy. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, and did you hear the news that we're going to have do some live broadcasts out from Empire this year?
Oh, really?
Yes, we
Oh,
are.
I didn't hear that.
So,
Sweet.
We'll have to get your schedule to make sure that you're there racing, and we can get you on the internet actually competing rather than just talking about how good you are.
Yeah.
You can show us.
Yep. Some IHRA changed their divisionals, so now it's national. Like anybody can go to any race,
Right.
and it's all one group. There's no age groups or anything. So on those races, we'll probably like do the local ones. There's no like Memphis anymore.
Okay.
So
The IHRA program that's going to be out at Empire. I mean,
that's
that
like a
race?
national. Like
And
that's
is,
it. Yeah.
and is that a race you can compete at as well?
Yep.
They do have a junior. Do they have a
class.
junior A and junior B just like at
It's
Empire?
well, last year it was advanced, masters, and then beginners was like the lower, like what my sister is.
Okay.
She for Division 1, she won the championship for that.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Wow.
So
You have a whole family of pretty talented racers here, right?
yeah.
So this year you finished second in the points. Have you ever won the overall points championship?
Yes, I did last year.
So you did last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I only lost this by a point.
I can't see the whole thing.
So
I'm just
close.
looking
It's
at
over
the
to the-
names
yeah.
here, but
Right there.
one
1 point.
stinking point. Wow, that is close.
That's
Don't
one
feel bad.
show
Don't
point.
feel bad. Brad Perkins doesn't repeat either.
That's right. So
Yeah.
you were champ. You came back second. Obviously, I'm sure this year you'd like to go back and be number one in Junior B again.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
But let's call it aside from being track champ at Empire. What are your big goals with regards to Junior Dragster? What would you like to accomplish?
I want to win like the national championship, like the whole overall thing. Last year I was so close, but I kind of fell apart towards the end of the season.
So to be able to do it last year, you got invited to Memphis. You had to be able to. If you won Memphis, you end up being
Yes.
national champ, right?
Yep.
So this year, without there being Memphis, is it just going to be a normal points deal?
Well, it's gonna be every junior dragster there is. They can go like all of Florida, Texas, anywhere around the whole country is the same group. So there's not. Usually there was Division 1, Division 2, Division
Okay.
3,
Yep.
4, all the way up to like 9.
Yep.
But now it's just going to be one junior dragster category. There's not going to be age groups, so it's going to be anybody. So that's probably going to be a lot harder because there's probably, who knows,
yeah.
it could be 1,000 kids. when I went down to Tennessee. I came in number 7 in the
Okay.
world
Yep. Wow.
out of 7,000 people. So
7 of 7,000. That's pretty darn impressive. So now I'm assuming you have to go to a certain number of races and claim points at those
Yep.
races.
Yes.
You probably get to throw out your worst 1 or 2.
Mhm.
So how many races are you going to have to go to this coming year?
I don't know. It's because the down south people they probably got an advantage because you can. It depends. Whoever has the most points at the end of the season wins it all.
Right.
So there's no like world finals like what I went to last year.
Right.
So they kind of got an advantage, but we don't know how much we're gonna do because we don't know like where they're gonna be. It's kind of a harder chance.
Sure.
And it's just we're not sure what we're gonna do. We're just
Yep.
gonna kind of wing it.
Yep. I'm sure it's one of those things where you go out and you start the season, you see how well you do, and if you're doing well, then you say, okay, I'm going to keep going.
Yeah.
And if you do crappy, then you're like, all right, forget it. I'm just going to go back to Empire and concentrate on the
One of
Junior
the
B
points.
program,
Yep.
right?
That's
right.
what kind of happened last year. We went, we were like, I came back to my trailer one day at Empire. My parents were in there. I'm like, let's go. The Montgomerys are going to Maryland. Can we go with them just to run it, just to try something new, to go to a different track? Because beginning of last year and our whole other racing career,
Yep.
we never traveled to anywhere. We always raced Empire. So, I mean, we went to like a couple of different places, but not much.
Yep.
And so we went there, and it was so cool. It's so different. It's so nice. We did pretty good. Me and my brother did pretty good.
So how
And
did your brother do? Did he get invited to Memphis as well? Or?
no, he didn't. I think he was number 4.
Okay.
So he was close, but
Close but no cigar.
yeah, he was kind of like he went in that slump, and then he came back up because of his car. So it was too late.
Well, how about in 2000? Now, you said your sister races too.
Yes.
So do you have 3 junior dragsters?
We do. Yeah.
All right. So how about at least for 2017, we try to commit to improving so that we get at least 2 Voglers.
Uh-huh.
You know, let's call it. I know it's a different deal, so we don't get to get invited to Memphis anymore. But let's get 2 Voglers in the top 10 this year. How can we?
Yeah.
Can we try and strive
Yeah.
to do that at
I'm sure-
least?
yeah.
And how old's your sister?
My sister is 9. Yeah, she's 9. She just turned 9 a few months ago.
So when you're out there racing, so you're racing against your sister at Empire?
Yep. She's
Okay.
in here.
So you don't
she
take
didn't sign up
turns?
though. No, we have all different separate cars. So 3 different juniors. Like I said, she won her division out of all her. She just started off this year.
Right.
So
Yeah, she's
she-
pretty young. I mean,
yeah.
she's only 9 years
9.
old.
Yep. So she just started and she did pretty good this year.
Well, that's very, very cool. I know they're going to be starting the awards soon. Chris, did you have any other questions for Matthew before we let him go?
I'm glad you came over and hung out with us for a little while. Keep us posted of as things go. You know, the off season, all the preparation. Is the car together at this point? You're all set, or are you still waiting for motors to be freshened and things along those lines?
Yeah, our motors are in Buffalo,
Mhm.
getting freshened. I don't know if you know Victor Puglia.
Okay.
He does our motors. He pretty much got us. We bought our first car from him. One of our
So
first cars.
are all your cars Vic Puglia cars?
No, not all of them, but he did build my brother's car. He built it 2014. He built the car for him. We bought my brother's second car from him. I bought my first car from him, and he does. He rebuilt the back of my sister's car that I raced last year. So he's done a lot of work for us. He freshens our motors every year. If we need anything, we call him, and he's got an answer for us. He's super smart, and he's a great person to.
He's another one of these
person to
second generation racers. His dad raced out at Lancaster. He's out of Buffalo. His dad raced at Lancaster for many, many years. His dad raced motorcycles. That's what I remember as a kid.
Yeah.
Watch his dad race motorcycles, very fast motorcycles. But he actually, Mr. Pooley actually just recently passed away too. But yeah, Vic's a very, very smart, smart guy, and I know he's been doing the junior dragster stuff for a long time. So I think you guys are hooked up with the right guy.
Yeah, I was just looking in the little brochure thingy that comes with the table.
Yeah.
And it was in 1999 and 2000 he was champion for juniors.
Vic was.
Back,
right.
yeah.
Oh,
right.
wow.
Yeah.
Back 17 years ago.
Yeah, Vic runs a dragster now.
Yep.
That most times out at Lancaster is
Boss.
part of their Quick 16 program. It's a very
Yep.
fast car.
Yeah, it is. he's been upgrading his motor like every year,
Yep.
but he's had a lot of problems. So he went to Pro Charger, and he blew that up at the end of last season. So now he's rebuilding that, and he's like kind of finishing it off and making sure everything's good because he's been having a lot of problems. So it's really fast. When he gets it down the track, it's fast.
Oh, it is a fast car.
It's very
I
fast.
think if I remember, I know it was well into in the 8th mile, well into the fours.
I think it was 450 or something
I
like
was
that.
gonna say 440s maybe.
I think it was, yeah.
ridiculously fast.
And yeah, he's such a smart guy. He knows everything, anything. Like he got us going. He got us going in juniors. He knew everything about it. And honestly, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't know half the stuff we do, and we wouldn't be here today. So.
Well, hopefully, if nothing else, I will say I'm sure Vic at some point in time will see the show and probably be pretty honored that you think that highly of him. But I mean, it's well deserved. He's a smart guy and obviously knows a lot about not only about the juniors but obviously the full size dragsters as well. So.
Yep.
Well, Matt, thank you very much. Really appreciate it.
Thank
It's
you.
very nice meeting you. We're definitely going to have you back because you've been a great guest, and we definitely want to catch up with you too at the track sometime this year.
Okay.
Are you on?
No, I'm not.
I would say not yet. I know officially you're not. You're supposed to be like 16, I think, before you're supposed to have an account. But well, if nothing else, make sure you have your parents, tune in for you every week. So you
My
can,
mom has a Facebook though, so.
Well, have your mom tune in every other Thursday, and make sure you keep track of what we're doing. And if you ever have any questions, make sure you send us a message on our Facebook page. We're definitely interested in keeping track of what you're doing and what's going on for the 2017 season.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, thank you very much, Matt. Again, very nice meeting you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for coming on, buddy.
You're welcome.
Perfect.
And we're going to have you on, too, just so you know, when you guys are collecting your awards. So keep your composure.
Speech.
Thanks again, Matt. Good talking with you. Wow, what a great guest.
What are we talking budget-wise for a junior dragster? How much money are you spending to put one of those on the track?
It depends, but they're not cheap, honestly.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, to run 790, so 790 is the fastest that they let the kids go in the junior dragster.
You said it's like 80, 85 miles an hour?
Right. And again, that's the 8th mile. They're fast. I mean, people that have never drag raced or don't know, 790 and an 8th would absolutely bury a full-size regular street car, right?
Yeah.
My Malibu's sitting out in the parking lot. If I were to go run 8th mile with it, my guess it'd probably run 12s, maybe 11s. Matthew's junior dragster would beat me to the finish line by a good 4 seconds. So they are really, really fast. And so to run 790s, I'm going to guess you probably have to have, probably $5,000 at least invested in that junior dragster.
Yeah.
And I'm saying at least, at the very minimum, I would guess that you're probably more upwards of $7,500, $8,000.
Yeah.
Assuming that you're not getting into crazy paint schemes and stuff like that.
And that's a roller, or is that with the motor?
No, I would call that $7,500, $8,000. That would be complete.
That's on the track.
Yeah. A good roller, a good junior roller, a nice piece, something that's fairly modern. Because they've been doing juniors now for close to 20 years. It's incredible. It's unbelievable to me that's been doing it for that long. But yeah, if you talked about a junior dragster that was within 10 years old, a decent piece, you're going to spend $4,000 to $5,000 for a roller, and then you got to put a motor on top of it. You got to have a way to get it to the track.
Right.
You got to have a starter, tow dolly for it. Most guys, I will say, the best way to get into junior racing, if you're going to do it, is to find somebody that's getting out of it.
Yeah.
Because obviously the kids get older, so usually what happens is by the time they turn 16, all right, it's time for me to move up to a full size car. So that's the best way to do it, because then you can buy someone's complete operation if you have nothing already.
Right. What about those cars in terms of longevity? Those dragsters that we've talked about, it would seem that the long rail car has the flex to it,
Yep.
and it's going to have that built in. You want some of that
That's
so
right.
that you can help it hook up.
That's right.
But does that flex eventually wear the car out? Or is it a lifetime car as long as you want to run it and keep it updated?
I'm probably the wrong...
Yeah.
I guess as far as a dragster goes, I'm probably the wrong person to ask. My guess is that if you were to talk to a real expert, that if you were trying to squeeze...
Like Vic?
like Vic, sure. If you were to talk to American Race Cars or Race Tech or any of those guys that make that build dragsters, they would probably tell you that they do wear out. I will know that my uncle, he swears that in a full-bodied car that you want to change the cage in a full-bodied car every 20 years. Basically because things just fatigue over the time and the car gets less stiff and doesn't react the way that it used to. Now when you're bracket racing something, as long as it's consistent from one pass to the next, does it really matter? Probably not. But that's the problem, is that cars, they turn into slinkies, and one time they happen to get twisted up just the right way that they react one way quick, and then the next time not, and they're not consistent. And my guess is the dragster's the same way. So
that was intense.
We know you guys have raced very hard this year. You put in a tremendous amount of work.
All right.
Empire Dragway, we want to thank you for your patience, thank you for your loyalty, and recognize the fact that this is not an easy sport to participate in, and to be there every week and to accumulate points the way you guys did means an awful lot. So, anyway, we want to thank the Genesee River Hotel and Reception Center, Patty and Patrick Wills, and their staff for a great meal. You're very good. And I want to introduce Clara, who's our awards coordinator. We all know Clara. That's what it says in the paper. Don't tell me I'm wrong. And Jerry's going to do the presentation of awards. So pretty soon he's going to be doing a presentation of the new tower, too. If you haven't been online, take a look at that. So let me introduce some of the staff that brings this place to you every week. Well, that place. Jeff Marnin is the announcer there. Tech inspectors are Davey Markle and Robert Wallace. Your office assistant is Emily Whaley. Stand up, guys. Let's do their recast.
So going through now, recognizing some of the staff here from Empire Dragway. Anything?
Your gate personnel is Tammy Salvo, Cheryl Harvey, Emily Whaley, Mike Mannix, and Tina Cavalier. All right. Your prize money distribution manager. And that's what she sounds like if you try to tell her you went around farther than you did. All right. Here's a guy that sent me down the racetrack, I think the first time I ever drag raced, and I'm old. Dick Gosley. 27 years coming in, and the guy's an Iron Man. Thank you for sitting in the heat, and the drizzle, and the crap for all of these years. David Markle's another star.
this is Pat Budd, by the way, who's emceeing.
One of the ugliest jobs in the track is the guy that maintains the burnout box. He's got all them greasy little rubber spots all over his face, probably for a week until he gets there the next Saturday. Joe Washer, I want to thank you for all your hard work with the burnout box.
Again, going through,
double duty. She's also our computer
recognizing
operator.
everybody
Thank you.
that has been part of Empire Dragway through the course of the year.
Hands out your ET slips. Kim Quinlan, sitting up there in the EMT, keeping an eye on you guys, making sure you get down through the shut off safely. Yeah, she's big. Fuel sales, Pat Faulkner. I have seen him put up with some serious crap down there, so thank you very much, Pat. Track consultants are Butch Leone and Pablo Rivera.
Guys at home, if you're having some trouble hearing the hearing Pat, shoot me a note. We'll see if we can adjust that sound for you.
See, child labor is a big thing with this Gation family. Bunch of 1090s flying around at the end of the year. Ron Rigby, thank you very much for your hard work all season as a track photographer. And for those of you that are under the age of 50, you have no idea how many years this guy has been putting his just really been doing amazing track photography here and other tracks through the state. The guy's a monster. Concession stand folks, Mike Mannix, Jackie Scatia, Jennifer Scatia, Erica Semmel, Ron Semmel, and Robin Wellen. We want to thank all those folks. Your software guru is Cheryl Leone, and the webmaster is Randy Sherman. Your designer for what? For all of our plaques and stuff like that. Give them the proper due. Twisted Stitches, so they're the folks that are designing everything up. Want to give them the props. We want to give a special thanks to our sponsors. Without them, we're not going to be here. And as we say a lot of times on the microphone, if you're going to make a purchase, give the people that sponsor the track a crack at your business. They're there to help you, help them stay afloat. JPR Trailer, John and Lynn Rodriguez, they are not here, but we want to thank them very much. Andy Gregory, representing Life Storage, he is not here, but we want to appreciate them. They're the old Bob Storage, Uncle Bob Storage, so if you need somewhere to put a bunch of junk, make sure you go to Life Storage. And this guy's here, Bob Smith from CarQuest. Thank you very much, Bob. Come on up and get your plaque. Show your appreciation. Here he comes.
Recognizing now a bunch of the sponsors that take part in Empire Dragway through the course of the year. Representatives from CarQuest joining up. Remember, the sponsors not able to make it. Ron Rigby going to work, taking some photos. And Pat Budd, one of our guests from past episodes on Final Round, handling MC duties.
Whoa. Sorry about the volume. Bobby Jaws. Is it Bob or Bobby? What do you prefer? Okay, as long as it's not Robert. All right, Bobby Jaws has sponsored the 470 class. He's helped grow this class. They've helped spread the word of the class. There are maybe a couple facilities want to help them race more often. No offense to you. And I want to thank you very much for your help.
Oops. Bob, also another one who was a guest on one of our live shows when we were at the Germano team shop.
John Patterson, we want to thank you very much. Insinger Fuels, Bruce Insinger has pulled the trigger on helping us with that. We appreciate it. We want to thank Tim Payne from Oak Orchard Concrete and Gary Wiley from K&S Auto Performance. All you guys, thank you very much for stepping up and taking care of Empire Dragway this season. And we hope to see you next year. But last but not least is Lakeville Construction. I remember when they came on. Kind of mid-season, right? Thank you very much for your support. All right, the next thing I got to read here is some dates, okay? We want to bring you on for the first test-a-tune. It's going to be April 22nd and 23rd, and July 1st and July 2nd is going to be the extravaganza. Outlaws. Okay, so Outlaws will be extravaganzing. What's that? At the wheel standards. Okay, so it's going to be a crazy booked-in show. And then on the 22nd and 23rd of July, they're going to go right into the Empire Gold Cup. And if it's something that you haven't seen, or you have a car that doesn't necessarily fit in, it's worth taking a look at. It's a fun weekend. The divisional race is coming back on the 18th of August. That's going to run through the 20th of August. And they're going to have 8-mile races the last Sunday of each month. So all that stuff, I'm sure, is up on the website. Check it out. The new gate times, Fridays at 5, racing starts at 6. Saturdays, the junior gate's going to open up at 12:30. Junior time trials at 1, racer gate at 2, and racing starts at 5 to 6 p.m. depending upon the car count and how many of you guys put oil down. It never happens anymore, does it? Everybody's got better stuff. Let's get into some winners. Huh? We had a tie. How about this? We had a tie for the 3rd place in the Junior A Junior Dragsters. 3rd place is going to Sean Fuller and Jeff Thacker Jr.
Tie for 3rd place for the Junior Dragsters. Collecting their hardware now. Spin this around just a little bit. You can see Ron Rigby, track photographer, getting ready to do his thing. Taking some photos of those gentlemen.
Junior A class winner, excuse me, 2nd place, because we were tied for 3rd. Sorry, I got lost. Anthony Vogler, number 2. Our cheering section, too. do a mic drop? Well, we do want to talk a little bit real quickly about, was it Anthony? Vogler family tore it up this year. Matthew, who's about to be up here, is second place in Division 1 in the advanced class, finished number 7 in the world. Sister here, another Vogler, Division Junior Beginners class champion. So some real hitters coming up. So speaking of which, let's, who's our champion in Junior A? Okay, that's right. They got moved to the end. So we're going to move on to Junior B. Third place, Anthony Ragusa. He's not here, but shout out for Anthony in spirit. And second place, the kid we were just talking about, Matthew Vogler. Second place in Division 1, 7th in the world. I expected you to be taller. It's kind of humiliating, dude.
It's one of our guests, and you can barely see him up there.
You suck like a champion racer, 3 feet tall.
Matthew was a cool kid, man. See Matthew collecting second place, Junior B dragsters.
Yeah, I will say we got a lot of positive comments from people watching at home about Matthew and how good he was on camera, which he really was.
Brad Perkins.
Fifth place in Super Pro, Brad Perkins. We're going to see in a little bit of him. Whoops.
Brad Perkins obviously running Super Pro and Pro, so he was Pro champ and Super Pro 5th place.
There you go, you're good. Jerry rented the room for another hour. Okay, 4th place in Super Pro. Your burnout tender, Frank Francis. Best burnout box guy I've ever seen.
Again, Frank Francis, another guy that runs 2 categories, was the 8th mile grand champion, I guess we'll call it, and also 4th place in Super Pro quarter mile racing. Frank's also a past Super Pro grand champion.
With Jim Nat and Ian Bacon, a guy that I just had dinner next to. That was fun, big fun.
If we're looking for an entertaining guest later, we can have Ian on. He's a very colorful guy.
Yeah.
Wow, that is some nice hardware.
Aren't they nice?
Split breaking, training breaking, whatever it takes. John Sura Jr., number 5th. You're 5th. You hear it, John? Here he comes. Okay.
John.
Jerry tells me I'm going to be calling your name a lot.
Shooting through the balloon strings, just making the camera go crazy.
Say, John Sierra Jr. was a guest of ours on Thursday, was 5th place in the Pro Points and Street ET champion.
Pat Manor. Manners.
John, there's an Alabama hat. Is that sort of his trademark thing?
I don't know. I'll have to ask him.
Sorry, Pat. I didn't mean to hammer your name.
You're fine. What are you going to do?
All right, finishing 3rd place in Pro this year is Ken Iamelli. Am I saying that right?
Iamelli.
Iamelli? Okay. I always kill that name. I'm sorry.
Killer Ken Iamelli. Longtime racer out at Empire Railroad.
Definitely the guy I would not want to have
Tough.
to face.
Yeah, he is a tough guy. This kid Brandon running now too. Brandon real tough.
How about your son? Your 2nd place finisher in Pro, Brandon Iamelli.
I'm not sure where Ken finished in Super Pro points, but he definitely also doubled in Super Pro and in Pro.
Everybody wants to get back to the bar. See how that worked out. All right, street, number 3. Third place finisher is Kevin Fuller. Here he comes.
Whoops.
Congratulations, man. You look very intense. You need a cuddle like.
Just picked up the wrong guy walking up. Followed one of the wait staff. Right behind that.
Kevin Bacon is in here. Is his brother receiving on his behalf? It's not your brother. There's 2 bacon. Oh my God. Okay, bike and sled. Third place, Gary Vaughn. Is Gary Vaughn here? Starting to come.
Do all the cars at Empire run Hoosier tires? Is that a track deal?
No, it's not a track deal. No, you can run any brand of tire that you would like to run. I would say in general today the 2 Sportsman tires that guys run most are the Hoosiers and the Mickey Thompsons.
Second place is Frank Malfi and Pete Edwards, who are unfortunately not here.
And you get guys that swear by both.
All right, 8 mile box.
Quite frankly.
Anybody run McCreary tires ever?
No,
Years ago?
well, yeah,
Years
years ago,
ago?
sure.
I know not now.
Yeah.
Tim Fletcher placed 4th. Is Tim here?
Tim is definitely here because Tim was your pro champion, or super pro champion, sorry. I don't know why I equate, I always think that Tim won pro, but Tim won super pro.
Oh, ran into some balloons.
For those of you that are not aware, Tim is the youngest son of drag racing legend Dan Fletcher. So there's Tim, Thomas, both run out at Empire quite often, and now we're going to have to deal with Taylor coming out to the track.
With her Explorer.
And her Explorer kicking everyone's rear end every week. Thanks, Dan, for raising a stable of fantastic drag racers. Really appreciate it. I'm guessing we're probably going to see Taylor in more than just the Explorer this year. We're probably going to see her in, I'm guessing, maybe the wagon on a pretty regular basis.
We've got the numbers for the silent auction, and there's a lot of them, so please be patient. 354-517, 354-471, 354-563.
So at this point, we've given out all the hardware, I believe, except for the grand, or the champions of all the individual categories and the grand champions.
354-023.
So there is another set of trophies that I see here that are still impressive. They're not 6 feet tall, but they're good 3 foot tall trophies that I'm not sure what those awards are for. I guess we're going to find out.
Time will tell.
Yes.
354-710.
I have a feeling it might be things like Driver of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Sportsman of the Year, those types of things.
354-311.
Then you're doing awards too, right?
490.
No.
you're not.
We're having our banquet in a few weeks.
I thought you were all combined.
Maybe we'll do the final round podcast of the West New York Super Rod Association banquet too.
When's that?
Well, to be determined, but sometime in February at this point. But ours is not anywhere near as impressive as the Empire banquet. So.
Your number 2 finisher for the year. All right.
And quite frankly, your current Western New York Super Rod Association president doesn't really have a minute to try to organize an event of this caliber. So.
You'll be fine.
In first place, your fabulous flying pilot, Frank Francis. Can you believe this guy can fly a jet legally?
Whoops, lost him. There he is.
That is true. Frank Francis was a commercial airline pilot.
Yep.
Now retired.
All right, going up to the
He's like
8-mile low box
127 years old, but he looks like he's 20.
It's funny that you say that because he has lived 1 year for every car that Dan Fletcher has at his house.
Well, not quite. I think Dan's still outpacing him by one, but
Yeah, 1 or 2.
Number 5.
Frank up
John
there with
Sierra
Marianne.
Sr., 8-mile no box. Top 5 finisher.
Wow, John Cera really had a fantastic year. And again, what's incredible is the fact that that was in a street car. I mean, we heard it Thursday night. A car that has 100 and something thousand miles, been passed down from one person to the next, and here he is, just taking a lot of hardware.
8-mile no box is Clayton Ricketson. He's not here, unfortunately. Your third place finisher in 8-mile no box is Thomas Fletcher.
Are the Ironmans, those are for the champions?
Those are going to be the champions of the individual categories, exactly.
Well, we'll get up to second. Brandon Iamelli. Come on up here. And first place is your dad, Ken Iamelli. So let's have a family moment.
I have to say, I'm really, it's pretty incredible. I don't know if you had taken a shot at any point in time of pan the entire room to kind of show the, really the expanse of this entire thing, but it's pretty darn impressive. There's a lot of people here.
We'll start over here. This is some of the hardware that Jason was alluding to a minute ago.
Surprise finishing in the top 3 in the 470 class, but we have a new champion.
The Ironman trophies over there. Just barely see them.
Your 470 champions this year at Empire Raceway.
And that's a view of how big this place is and how full it is.
It's been fun.
Dan Germano. We were live from the Germano Race Shop a couple weeks back.
This team has come a long, long way. I helped Dan out a few years ago, I'd say probably 4 or 5 years ago, I guess, when he really first got into drag racing again.
I gotta do here, guys. First of all, I gotta say thank you to a few people. Mark Bliven, where are you, buddy? That guy, whenever we needed anything, he's there. Stand up, bud. Right from day one, he was right there. Number 2, Mr. Bob Jaws. This guy, anytime we need anything, he's there. We break our wheelie bars, he fixes them, brings them back the next morning. Thanks, buddy. You're always there for us. We appreciate it.
He had some twisted wheelie bars too.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Jerry, everybody, we ought to all give Jerry and Claire a great big thank you for all the effort that they put into this thing, so we all have a good place to race. You know, if it wasn't for them stepping up like this, we wouldn't have the track that we got. So join me in a round of applause for that. Something else that, I don't know if anybody remembered this or not, but we got a hero right here amongst us. Mr. Jim Zakia got added into the Hall of Fame for drag racers this year. Stand up, Jim. We really need to take our hat off to him. Thank you, buddy. One last thing, guys. Without my crew, I wouldn't be here, and neither would Adam. So I'd like to have my whole crew come up here. We got a little something for you. Frank, Richie, Gary, Alan, Corey, all you guys, come on up here a minute. We got a little something for you, right from our sponsor and from me. Just wanted you guys to know how much we appreciate what you guys do.
So a couple
I
of
had
things.
talked to the sponsor and told them that we won, and they wanted to do something special for the guys. So thanks for putting up with me, guys.
So it looks like Dan has gotten championship trophies made for all of
Small
his crew
scale
guys.
ones, yeah,
That
it's
is,
pretty neat.
That is definitely pretty neat. Dan's a real good dude. He's, like I said, I helped him out 4 or 5 years ago when he was getting going. He basically needed someone to kind of just kind of help him out a little bit with routine, and he really didn't have any experience with any of the electronics racing, so kind of need some experience there. And
One
good.
last thing I want to say, without Mr. Pat Budd there tuning the car for us, we wouldn't have been able to accomplish this, so thanks, buddy.
Who doesn't like burning pistons, buddy?
Pat Budd brought that car a long, long way. That Dan was running about 850s, I would say, in that car when
Pat started
when
massaging
Pat
it.
started massaging it, and I think this past season, I think they dipped into the 6s for the first time.
Wow.
Now again, that's quarter mile for those of you listening at home, not 1/8 mile. So
But still, you're shaving a half second off?
second and a half.
Oh, second and a half. You said
850s, yeah.
You said
850
850.
to 699, yeah. And that was, I mean, I will say that they did build a new motor between that, in that time. But most of that really was really tuning and nitrous setup. And, Pat really started.
How many stages does his car have?
I think that's a 3-stage system now, a 3-stage 500 horse
God.
system he's got.
Can you? That's nuts.
Yeah, really, really incredible. Pat,
Where's Jason Oldfield? Jason, are you here? Looking good, man. Tie and everything. Come up here.
I don't know why I'm being called up there,
well,
but I guess
keep your microphone open
I'll
then.
keep my mic, and I guess we'll find out.
Oldfield's going to come up here and talk about the Joe's TNT Transmission 990 class. Neat deal. These guys are kind of self-regulating a little bit, take care of their points. Good
Well.
set of racers. Say something.
Say something. Well, so you're mixing us up just a little bit, but good to see you, Pat. How you been? Well, I know, but that's okay. So just so everybody knows, first off, I'm wearing a headset tonight because we are actually broadcasting the Banquet live right now. So the Final Round podcast is something that we started doing a few months ago, and we're streaming it to the internet. And so people that aren't able to join at home, we did have the link online on the Empire Dragway Racers page. So people hopefully are watching at home. If you don't get a chance to see it, obviously tonight, because you're here, you can go home and it should be on YouTube, honestly, for all of you to watch. So I'm basically the guy that runs the Western New York Super Rod Association. We were going to present our awards here tonight, but decided not to do that just because of some conflicts, and we didn't want to basically infringe on this show, and we wanted to do the Final Round podcast. So got to thank Jerry, really. He's been really a big help. Not only with our series, but with the Final Round podcast here, us being able to be here tonight. And we got some big things planned, not only for our series, but for the Final Round podcast as well. We really do hope that we're going to be able to do some live broadcasts of competition out at Empire this year. So that'll be something new. So we're going to try and get everybody a little bit more exposure. And what we're really trying to concentrate on is sportsman racing, and really starting here right at home with Empire Dragway. So hopefully we can get everybody, like I said, a little bit more exposure.
If I mangle the sponsor or something like that, is there somebody you want to recognize?
Well, Tread City Tire has been our title sponsor for the longest time, and Donnie Razor out of Tread City, he's been just great and really helped us out. I mean, a lot of the sponsors that you mentioned earlier, guys like Andy Gregory out at Life Storage. I mean, again, a big sponsor of ours. Jansen Automotive, again, big backer. But Tread City's been our title sponsor, and they've been really great to work with. Yeah, well, exactly. So I'll let you guys go. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it. Thanks, Jerry. I have to say that was a little unexpected.
Next up, the 5-0 Light Award. We've got Mike Reed and Clay Ricketson. Mike Reed, Clay Ricketson. Award for you guys.
5.0 light is a perfect
Also
light.
got a,
Correct.
award here,
Well, 5.0 light is a perfect light on,
On,
either a full tree or a 5/10 pro tree. But typically it's a full tree that they're talking about.
Nola won that, and evidently there
And there was another. We saw a 400 tree too, right?
Yes, so Western New York Super Auto Association, we run on a 400 Pro tree. That's why we usually, when we talk about perfect lights, it used to be reaction times were always reported in a 0.4 something or a 0.5 something. They've generally gone to a nomenclature of just a 0.00 something. So 000 is a perfect light, regardless of whether you're on a 5/10 tree or 4/10 tree, Pro tree or full tree.
So there's a lot of names.
I was not expecting to be called in front of everybody to make a speech this evening. I would have prepared a little bit better.
Stacy Budinger,
Surprise.
John Sierra Jr., Jonna Cottrell, Jeff Cottrell, Tim Fletcher, Frank Francis, Kevin and Sean Fuller, Jim Knapp, Ben Haight, Dan Hinrich, Brandon Aimelli, Father Ken, Chris Larson, Patrick Manners with an S, Paige Montgomery, Bob Parrish, Brad Perkins.
If nothing else, it gave us an opportunity to
Jeff Thacker,
Make people
talk
aware.
about the Final Round podcast and some of the things that we hope to do in 2017, right? So,
Anthony Vogler and Matthew Vogler. Your alternates were Stephanie Buhan and Ron Eason.
that was really completely unexpected. I had no idea why that they were calling me up.
Kristen Budinger.
So what are we calling up here now?
I think
Coming up and getting a patch of some sort.
Yeah, they have. I think they're little medallions, if I remember correctly. So they're generally, these are all people that had 000 reaction times in the 2016.
So there's only
season.
2 perfect 500 lights, and all these people had perfect 000s.
Is that what they said? There was only 2 perfect.
They saw when they said the 500 lights, they only called 2 names.
That had to be more than that, I'm sure.
I don't know. Maybe that's all that was here. But I saw Matt Vogler up there. I shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
So again, these are all the folks that turned in perfect lights through the course of 2016.
Of course, we probably lost all our viewers when I went up there, so it's probably
I don't know. It's a little tough
back down to 0. Hopefully, we can
as long as we're not dropping frames, we can deal with
build
it.
an audience back up again.
If we could get Jim Knapp, Patrick Vaughn, Ian Bacon, and Brad.
We're not dropping frames, and we still got a pretty good number, pretty good turnout for a banquet.
I think you're gonna have a lot of people that
Probably go back and watch it. I would think. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things, I got a quick second that I didn't get a chance to talk about was, so Jim Zakia, Dan Germano recognized Jim Zakia. Jim is kind of a pioneer drag racer, long-time drag racer from this area. Just had immense success in the 60s and 70s. And this year he was inducted into the East Coast Drag Times Hall of Fame down in North Carolina. Big honor.
That's cool.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, and if you were to look at some of the inductees, people that were inducted into that Hall of Fame, you're talking big name drivers over the course of history. So, yeah, definitely an honor for him.
What
to be
did he
recognized.
race?
So he raced generally in the gas, so we'll call it gassers. Generally in the gas series.
All right, we're gonna have one of the gophers grab a number here. They're starting to give stuff away with a hat. For those of us with a bald spot, cover it up. What's the number, dude?
9619.
Awesome. Let me see that ticket again, if you don't mind. That would be 970-9619. If somebody comes up with it, we'll hand it to them. If not, you get to wear it.
It's a good deal.
Okay, Moms Racing. Power Editor champion, Scott Beach. Is Scott Beach here for Moms Racing?
So the Mom
Does
series.
Jamie Myers ever come to these races anymore? Does he actually show up once in a while? The doctor?
So the Mom series is Mustang on Mustang Racing. So it's a complete Mustang
The nationally
series.
aspirated champion is Bob Weatherby.
That's what these.
Congratulations, Bob. Buddy, I don't know. I just got a mic. Pinky, go over that way.
That's what the blue trophies were that you were asking about. It's for the Mom
DOT
Series.
champion is John Funner. Come on up, John. Those are huge trophies. Those are nice.
So, like the Western New York Super Yacht Association, the Mom Series is one of those self-regulating series. So.
Extreme champion is Ken Grover.
So they race out at the Mom Series races out at Empire typically on Friday nights. I want to say it's once a month that they race out at Empire on Friday nights. And again, a lot of cars. You get a lot of cars out on Friday nights for the Mom Series, as you can imagine.
Limited champion Joe Paul.
What's comfortable in terms of the pit capacity at Empire? You know, when you look at, we've talked a couple times about how many cars they had this night or that night. What's comfortable there? What can it hold without it being stacked on top of each other?
Yeah, I would say overall that probably 300 cars is fairly comfortable. I mean, it's a big facility, but yeah, once you get you start getting more than that, 300, 400, 500 cars, which they've had in the past, but you start getting that many cars.
The Mom's grand champion, none other than Doug Vanstrom. Doug, you were on the back of the page. Sorry, buddy.
500 cars.
Yeah, you're stacked on top of each other at that point in time. So Doug Vanstrom runs a car that he affectionately calls the Booger.
Because you and your son look a lot alike.
Again, a very, very fast Mustang.
Look a lot alike. Yeah.
He was actually scheduled to be on.
Nice things about Mom's Racing. This is our 23rd season we will be starting this year.
Wow.
My son came home from night racing one time. Hello, darling. And said we should have our own series. Pro Tree. That's what they wanted was Pro Tree. So that's what we started, and we've been doing it for 23rd year.
Wow, impressive.
That is impressive.
Michigan. He works for General Motors.
So when we see Mustangs, what variety of Mustangs are in competition there?
I have to say that the majority of them are certainly Fox bodies.
And I want to say thanks to my Melody gal here.
And we want to say thanks to you. And here's a plaque in appreciation of the dedication you've shown these guys.
That's well deserved. 23 years, that's incredible.
It's been a heck of a ride.
Is that the only place that the series goes, is Empire?
That is the only place that they race it, to my knowledge.
Well, you're 7-9 going on 62.
I mean, honestly, to put up with racers that long, that woman is a saint. She's going straight to heaven.
Brooke Adams, following named young lady, exemplifies good sportsmanship, team playing, cheerful attitude, and in general, a great spirit. Please put your hands together for none other than Brooke Adams. Listen to that cheering section. Congratulations, Brooke. That's a nice award.
Oops, I lost him. There he is.
We got another number for some of Jerry's giveaways. 970-9471. 970-9471. What do you know? It's mine. No.
We got our
next number, 970-9621. 970-9621.
Our door prize winner right in front of us.
All right, and this is bringing us up to the big finish and the big shoe. These are all your champions, the folks that managed to get by round after round, miss red light after miss red light, and just cut 001 lights and just absolutely irritate you in the other lane for the whole year. These are your grand champions. First place in Junior A is Paige Montgomery. Paige,
So Paige's dad, Sean, longtime drag
First
racer.
of all, I'd like to thank my dad for giving me the opportunity to travel the country and do divisionals, which is a big deal. Not only did I get first for Empire with missing a couple races, I got second in Division 1 against Chad Logan, and he's pretty cool. Just saying that. So winning the track and running against Matthew Vogler, I got to go to Memphis, and then winning divisional, or getting second in divisionals, I also got to go to Memphis, which required me to get 2 cars. So I'd like to thank the people that helped me get down to Memphis with 2 cars, meaning Jeffrey Griffith for letting me use his car, the Voglers for bringing my car down there, and Billy Pitts for also helping us get down there, and then everyone that offered to let us use their cars, Anthony Vogler and Jeffrey Thacker. Okay, I'd like to thank Carl for building my motor and helping us out at every race. Mickey Thompson for our tires, which make the car look pretty nice. Jerry and Clara for running a pretty great program every weekend. Ron for always being there and supporting the juniors and taking nice pictures. Cheryl for helping us do the ladder every week in the tower. And Kirsten and Brooke for being my best friends. And then thank you to BRK Racing Engines for always supporting us, and we will be seeing you soon.
talk about a poised young lady. Nice job. All right, that brings us up to first place in Junior B, Brooke Adams. Come on down again, Brooke. She wins a Great Spirit Award and clocks her class. Nice.
There you go, Brooke.
If you've never been in the tower when the juniors run, watch the incrementals come down. It's a trip. I mean, you'd think you're looking at a pro eliminator car. They're fast.
Making it turn red.
We've got another ticket. 970-9560.
Somebody is very excited about winning a baseball cap.
I don't understand. There's 220 people here. The ticket range so far is like 400 numbers.
Right.
I love a gracious winner. That brings us to Super Pro. Tim Fletcher, congratulations.
Yeah,
2016 Super Bowl champion at Empire Dragway. Come on.
Well, Tim was,
Got a
he
great
wanted,
hairdo, too.
Tim wanted Sierra to go first. So much for that. I guess Tim's going to have to go first.
Yeah, there's a lot of build-up, Jason, about what this acceptance speech was going to be. So we'll have to see what he does.
Your first place in pro, Brad Perkins.
There-
Did you notice he was getting up before I even called his name?
I don't think I don't think Tim's speaking.
I guess Tim is foregoing a speech.
You're going to see Brad here in a moment. There's Brad.
Well, I don't know if Brad's going to speak now. Brad will probably wait till he takes his grand champion trophy, I'm guessing. Of course, while we're doing this and I'm slacking and not looking at my phone, my phone is blowing up with people messaging me. So Dan Fletcher sent in a couple of messages and said that the originator of the Moms Racing Series is a guy named Dr. Jamie Moyer.
Congratulations, man. And your first place winner in Bike and Street, Patrick Vaughn.
And I guess Dr. Moyer is grandfather of somebody at GM Motorsports that Dan Fletcher deals with today. So big kind of.
Oh, jeez, we missed him.
And your 2016 Grand Champion nets these goodies: a paid hotel room, reserved pit space, season pass, and a jacket and a trophy, and all this loot is going to Brad Perkins, your 2016 Grand Champion. And look at the size of this ridiculous trophy. Isn't it awesome? I have no idea where that's going. Yeah, thank you. Right in my white pant.
What do you do with a trophy that big?
Say a few words. Oh, we got some more stuff to give away, too.
I've never had a problem like that.
We've got...
definitely wouldn't go on my mantle, that's for sure.
9477. 970-9477, and this is all of the awards presentations and all that stuff tonight, so that's wrapped up. I don't know if the bar's flowing again, but if it is, enjoy.
Oh, 9377.
Yeah. Not I. That Grand Champion trophy is huge.
Yes, it is.
No speech for Brad.
Really? Brad was not. I guess Brad had all the talking that he could get
Yeah,
the other night on the final
maybe
round
that's
podcast.
what happened. Maybe that's what it was.
Oh, and Dan wanted to clarify. He is so Dr. Jamie Moyer is the Grand Poobah, not grandfather, but Grand Poobah over at GM Motorsports. So
we did miss one thing. We want to recognize
local guy that has obviously gone up the ranks and done very well for himself in motorsports.
Dorothy Lingle. Is Dorothy here? I have seen the worst sunburns in my life on this woman's face. You're 50-50, tireless volunteer, Ms. Lingle. Thank you very much.
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the champions, winners of their classes.
This is Frank Francis speaking now.
Great banquet. Big round of applause for Jerry and Claire. Come on. Next year is going to be another great year. It was sort of different for me. I haven't been back here in quite a while. I left in 01, 02, and it was nice to be back. It's been a long time since I ran quarter mile, but it was fun. And I have a gift here from Marianne and I for Dorothy Lingle, because there's no way that I would go through the garbage cans to pick out cans. Big round of applause for Dorothy. Thanks, Dorothy. Appreciate it. Hope to see everybody next year.
So for the bracket finals program, they do the 50-50 ticket sales, and the proceeds go to support their bracket finals team.
394-699. You got some stuff.
Next
Oh,
number,
the last- well, the ticket
867-5309.
What is it,
Yes.
The green tickets. Okay, cool. See, she knows. We got some more. Let's see. We got a T-shirt. 970-9513.
Now, does
I didn't know I was in
that wrap it
auction
up for what's going on the
And,
stage side of things?
970.
I
9534.
am going to guess that's
So ending in
probably
513
true.
and 534.
Uh-oh.
Not 100% certain of that. I'm going to wait till Pat, I
Does
guess,
anybody have bingo?
wraps it up, I guess, or says officially they're done. But it looks like the majority of the hardware has been given away. I'm guessing a couple of the trophies that are still up there are probably for guys that weren't here. Which again is pretty impressive, the amount of hardware that Jerry gave away.
Good evening, everybody. Bill Stevens, director of the Gas Racing Series, if you don't know me. First of all, congratulations to all the champions. Job
Gas
well done.
Racing Series. Head man.
Congratulations to Jerry and Claire. Job well done on the track. Very nice facility. Excellent improvements. Just want to give everybody a quick overview on the GRS in our 2016 season. Very good season with a lot of new members, a lot of new participation. Things are looking great. For those of you that think you can get your car in, even more than before. Great new things going on for next season. We're hoping to grow. One of the things we got going on for next season, we're working on potentially adding a new class for the Gas Racing Series. We're working on a Nostalgia Pro Stock Series. It's part of our Gasser and part of our Mod Series.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We were just talking about some of that earlier.
Working with the GRS now, we have the Messlers, Mike and Jim, and Bobby Johns are all helping us work to develop the rules package and everything we need to get it done. So with that, if you guys are interested, have any thoughts on joining, watch our website, GasRacingSeries.com for the rules and stuff that come up. If you want to get a hold of us, get a hold of any of those three gentlemen or contact Gas Racing Series. Other than that, I just again want to thank Claire and Jerry and everybody else at the Empire facility, the staff, especially the tower staff. Well, yeah, the payout's a little rough, but other than that, everybody have a good night. Thank you.
I don't know what the rules are going to be for the Nostalgia Pro Stock class, but
If we can get all the track champions up by the banner for Ron to take a group picture. So the guys with the Ironmen, if you could come on up and wave them around for Ron up in front of the banner there. All right, we're giving away more stuff. We got a lot of stuff. Ticket number 970.
Leave this up there. We can sit down at the table and talk a little bit about what we saw if you want.
Ticket number 970-9552. 970-9552. Ticket number 970-9537. 970-9537.
So wrapping up photos now as all of our champions and our grand champion, Brad Perkins, congregating in front of the Empire Dragway banner just to wrap up the award ceremony. The Final Round podcast coming to you live from the Empire Dragway year-end banquet here in Mount Morris. Some some interesting news that come out of this. I think the big talking point, one of them anyway, is going to be the development the Gasser Racing Series, GRS, now adding the Nostalgia Pro stocks, which you talked about earlier.
That's definitely news to me. I did not know that was going to take place, and it's definitely something that is pretty interesting. Bob Mesler, I know Bob Mesler's an ex-Super Gas racer, known Bob a long, long time. I know he was building a Nostalgia Pro stock car. I don't know if there's anybody else in this particular area, or if they're looking to try to get people from all over the country traveling up here. Details, I guess, at this point are pretty sparse. Like I said, this is news to me, but that's a pretty cool deal. I'd love to see these guys running on a regular basis if they could do it.
Well, it sounds like it's coming it's coming your way, with GRS adding that. 23 years being celebrated by the folks from the Mom Series. Excited to hear about them continuing their relationship with Empire Dragway in the coming season. It's going to be one that I'm looking forward to seeing that, just to see the diversity in the Mustangs. And watching those guys race. No real surprises, I guess, on the champion side of things. We'd known that all those guys were going to come and collect it.
I want to thank our sponsor, Doug Van.
A few more folks taking a little bit of time to recognize some of the racing series. So many different racing series that come through Empire Dragway, and some of them, it's not just it's not just a stop on the tour. It's home track.
That's right.
It's the center of that tour's universe is
That's
Empire
right.
Dragway.
Mom says you have to come up.
Yeah, and if you were to look at like the Mom Series, for instance, Doug Vanstrom, their overall grand champion, he was scheduled to be on Street Outlaws this season a couple of weeks ago, on an episode that aired a couple of weeks ago. And I think when he made the trip out to wherever they were racing, I don't remember exactly where. It might have been in Oklahoma where they were going. I think he ended up breaking. They went testing, and I think he broke like literally the night before they were supposed to race. But I mean, yeah, there's guys around here, and I can't. Unfortunately, it's Mo. I'm gonna butcher Mo's last name. I don't know how to say Mo's last name, so I'm not even gonna try because I would butcher it. But Doug and Mo basically have the two fastest Mustangs around here, and they had a real big dollar heads-up race that Mo ended up winning. But the fact that Doug even got invited to kind of go on the Street Outlaws really is a testament to the performance of some of the guys that you have around here. I mean, these guys are no joke. I mean, they know what they're doing. And you obviously have in the Mom Series, and that's probably true for Empire's just regular program as well. You have anything from your normal weekend racer guys that just go out to have fun, to the guys that take it really, really seriously. And and because of that, you have guys that run the gamut as far as the amount of success that they've had.
970-9574.
Going on anywhere from maybe somebody that. That's never had really much success, but is just out there to have some fun and relax, versus the guys that like Dan Fletcher that have won multiple world championships. That and those are just guys that are running on a weekly basis. That out at Empire, right? So.
354-319. Those are your outstanding 50-50.
It's funny because you would think in particular, I'm going to go to this let's call it backwoods track out in Leicester, New York, where if you were to say that to somebody, most people would have no idea where it is. And I'm just going to roll in there and kick everyone's rear end and take their money, right? You don't necessarily know what you're in for to do that. There's some big hitters that race out at Empire on a regular basis.
It's the place to be.
We're
going to be there. I'm looking forward to it.
No, me too. Yeah, me too. It's definitely a very interesting track. I did indeed. So here we're joined by Paige Montgomery and Brooke Adams, right? So I think that we have two microphones or one microphone.
We got two. You're not going to talk? Okay.
Oh, so Brooke just wants to spectate, but Paige Montgomery's going to join us and sit down.
Put that right around your head, just like that.
Right behind. There you go. Right
there
behind
you go.
your head.
And you're on.
Okay, 970-960.
I say,
I don't know how
yes,
this goes.
right behind your head.
The back goes
Oh,
just
like-
like that.
There
straight
you
back?
go. There you go. Exactly.
Okay, I got
you.
You're perfect.
Okay.
It's just like that. So
Yeah.
congratulations on the championship this year.
Oh, thanks. It's not just me. It's my dad. He's taught me everything that I know.
I say your dad's been racing obviously for a long time.
My grandpa raced, my dad raced, then my dad, we have some hard times sometimes, but he definitely does it to teach me stuff. Like, we'll just be doing something, or like, we'll be trying to fix the car, and we have to work together as a team.
Right.
If I see something's wrong, I tell him, we fix it together.
Right. Now you had obviously a fantastic season, right?
Yeah.
Now is this your first track championship? I don't think it is.
No.
Okay. I didn't
It's
think
my
it was.
fourth one here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was pretty sure. Yeah. I mean, because quite frankly, Chris doesn't know because he's kind of new. But it's like, oh yeah, Paige Montgomery won again. Yeah. What else is new? Right?
No, there's some pretty tough competition here.
Right. Oh yeah, there definitely
You
is.
go out and you got so and so. You get a little turn in your stomach. It's not easy.
Right. That's right. So I guess, of the.
See ya.
Would this be your best season? Would you consider this to be your best season ever?
My dad would agree that when I was 890 racing, I was a better racer because the way the car worked, and it was just harder for people to like. We had like more mile an hour in 790 cars. Didn't realize that because I had a 790 motor, but we
Okay.
slowed it down for 89.
Okay.
And we think I was a better racer then. But this year, I've been against some tough people like Chad Logan,
Okay.
who is a really big racer. He actually moved up this year. He was Division 1. He was the one that beat me.
Okay.
But I learned that you have to have like 20 or better lights in the A class consistently, or you're going home. If you don't have a 20 or better, you don't belong there.
Wow.
Even Brooke, she in her class in B, so beginner, she normally has like a 1-something light, which is good in her class. She even said when she looked at my time ticket, she said, "That's impossible." Yeah, it's really like.
It is pretty incredible, honestly, the level of competition, and I'm hoping that Brooke might change your mind and join us as well. Now, one really interesting thing, and I don't know what you think about this, but do you know, is this the first year that in Junior A and Junior B that it's been 2 female champions?
I don't actually know. I think me and Brooke have won before, but don't quote me on that.
The same year, you mean?
Yeah.
In the same year, yeah.
Yeah.
So now, you've obviously come up through the ranks. You've been doing this for a while. When did you start at 8 years old or 7 years old?
I started when I was 8, we had a car, but we never really got the passes down the track to get my license.
Okay.
So my dad, we have like a hill by our house. My dad would push me down it, so we would like get the feel of the brake and stuff.
Right.
So I didn't technically start till I was 9, but when I was 9, we had there was a really big race at Empire, and I beat up on the older kids.
Okay.
And I won a 5-foot trophy. And then the next year they had it again, and I won the same class, but then for the runoff I didn't win that one. But I was going 1290 because that's before they moved it to 1190. But yeah.
Right. When we had Matt Vogler on before, it's interesting because I didn't really think about it until we talked to him, is that in the Junior B category, you have a really large spread of ETs of people running, so anywhere from 1290 down to 790. In the Junior A's, what's the slowest drag? I mean, the fastest you guys can go is 790, right?
Yeah.
So what's the slowest car at 790? Do you have that big difference in speeds?
Everyone in A doesn't have to be 790. It goes by age group. It goes from Class B would be 8 to 12, so that's from 1190. They moved it up, 1190 to 790.
Okay.
And then A is 13 to 18, technically.
Okay. So you can race juniors until you're 18.
Well, yeah, because on your 18, when you're on your 18th year, you have to race before you turn 18.
Oh,
so
okay.
I will because my birthday's in August. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not realize that. So now, obviously, does your dad still have the dragster?
He does. It's in the
Okay.
garage in a million pieces.
So, obviously, yeah, this is.
So you can see where this is going.
Well, yeah, this is, I guess overall, it's number one, it's a testament. Paige's dad is not the only guy that's done this. There's a lot of people out there, not just in drag racing, obviously, but in other forms of drag racing too, or other forms of racing, that park their vehicles to give their kids an opportunity at whatever it might be. So maybe it's go play soccer or baseball or who knows what. And I really got the impression that your dad, when you got of age, said, you know what, all right, I'm going to park the big dragster because I want to go do this with Paige. So now here you are, you're about to turn 18, and you've done very, very well in the juniors. So there has to have been discussions about you hopping into the big dragster, right?
I'm 16. I am gonna hopefully get my license in February.
Okay.
But I have asked him multiple times if I could drive it, and like, yo, Dad, when are you gonna put the car back together? Or are you gonna drive it? Or he doesn't think it's a good idea to put me in a box class, because right now I foot brake and I'm decent at it.
Sure.
So he wants to put me in.
That's a good point.
He wants to put me in a no box car if we can find. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's
So,
a very good point.
If I do good in juniors without a box, you wouldn't want to put me in a car with a box where I'm just going to be average, because everyone's
So just so everybody out there that might be watching understands kind of the difference. So a box is using a delay box, where you are usually top bulb racing. So the very first flash you see, you're basically letting go of a trans brake button and then using a delay box to then launch the car. In this particular case with a junior dragster, you have to time it with your foot. You're basically pushing on the accelerator when you want this thing to take off. And in no box, there's no electronics, so there's no delay box. You have to basically concentrate on generally the last bulb, and then time it just all through your body motion and your feet to essentially get the car to launch. And me personally, I've been an electronics racer my whole life, so I'm terrible in no box. Absolutely terrible. And yeah, quite frankly, if you are good at doing what you're doing right now with a junior dragster with no electronics, and I kind of have to agree with your dad that I think it would be a good idea for you to kind of continue that and really hone your skill. I think it's much easier for you to go from a no-box car to then hop into a dragster than it would be the opposite, the other way around. And I'm a perfect testament to that. I mean, like I said, I'm terrible at bottom bulb racing, so that might not be the worst idea in the world. Of course, that said, you already have a race car sitting in the garage, so let's make use of it, right?
It might better.
And what's nice too with a car like your dad's, obviously it's I'm sure your dad's car has a throttle stop on it as well, because I know you used to race Super Comp with it. That's the nice thing about bringing kids along, especially going from juniors, is that you can very slowly speed them up with the throttle stop on the car. So that's nice. So this coming year, you're going to get your license. Do you think you would start in street, I guess, then? At least initially? Or are you guys already on racing junk on a daily basis looking for that no box car for you guys to race?
Oh, well, my dad's one buddy. We're kind of looking at a car that might work, but we got to talk. Oops, sorry. We got to talk about it and see how everything works out. I got to get my license first, then.
Right.
I don't want to interfere with juniors too much, but.
Well, there's not going to be, you say, so you turned 16 in August?
I turned 16 in August, so I got my permit.
Oh, so you already have your permit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just got to, driving test.
Now, you obviously have a big leg up on a lot of kids your age. I mean, not to say that kids your age never driven a go-kart, but you've obviously been behind the wheel of a vehicle quite a bit compared to a normal 16-year-old kid. So I don't think you're going to have any problem passing your driver's test. So how quickly would you like to really move into racing in no box? I mean, are you hoping to join the points right off the bat?
I guess I would, because I just like to see how I would do.
Sure.
But then again, I wouldn't want to rush it too quickly and then be in 2 different classes and then worrying about both. But I mean, they're talking about doing the juniors early in the morning, so that would kind of help.
That's right.
So
Yeah, you could still get the
juniors in the
juniors out of the
morning
way.
and then,
I mean, another option, obviously, your dad has had some experience racing, so maybe there could be a Paige and Sean Montgomery team drivers in no box, maybe.
I've talked to him about getting his dragster. I was like, you could drive, you could race, but his whole thing was that when I started racing, that I needed his help, and still to this day, like I really need his help. And he said that he's either focusing on one, he's putting all his effort towards one, or all his effort towards another. If he doesn't want to take some away and take some away, then
Right. No, and I can completely understand that. I've watched people, Mark Caruso, actually, he comes to mind when his girls were racing junior dragsters and he was trying to race full time as well. It was very difficult watching him run around, basically trying to maintain the 2 juniors and race his.
he had 3 juniors, and my dad was helping out with that.
Yeah, and it was crazy, right? Trying to do all that in one particular day. So I can totally understand why your dad would want to try to concentrate essentially, on one car or one person. And me personally, if it was my daughter, I would be perfectly happy essentially stepping aside and saying, yeah, I'm going to help her go do it, because I'm going to have just as much fun helping my daughter go be successful as I would if I was out there racing myself. Probably even more fun.
I think for him, it's really stressful. He works really long hours at work to come home and work on a car every Friday night. And then when we go to travel into places, sometimes he'll come home Friday night at maybe 9 o'clock, and we'll just drive somewhere to Maryland or something to go and race. So no sleep, we'll race. He'll get the sleep Saturday, Sunday, but he's a late sleeper. And then we gotta get up early, race, and we go straight home, and he's gotta work the next day. So he puts all his effort into the car.
Well, it's nice that you appreciate that effort and you don't feel entitled, like, hey, this is my God-given birthright that I get to go drag racing, right? I mean, it is. It's a big financial investment and it's a big time investment, and a lot of people don't realize that. So it's nice that you do appreciate the amount of work that your dad's putting into this. So what was your biggest? I guess what to this point has been your biggest single win, not overall your of the championships. What was your single biggest win that, Mr. Mesler, good seeing you, that you've had?
Personally, I would say my biggest win was when I was 9 and I won.
Really?
We call it the Tony Ardillo Trophy because he set up the whole race and everything.
Right.
But we had the 5-foot trophy, and I was supposed to be in the 8 and 9-year-old class, but you could move up a class too. So I was racing the 10 and 11-year-olds.
Okay.
And I beat everyone in that. But another trophy that's not like that would be a big accomplishment. We went to Beaver Springs, and I was testing out Jeffrey Griffo's car for Memphis, and we were at first just kind of playing it as a joke to see how the car was running. Then we saw we were kind of in the final rounds. So I think that that race was really fun too because everyone's car was spinning, but I was for the spin and we were dialing the car 815 when we were going 790 in the beginning of the day because we were planning for the spin. So I would have to watch and womp the whole way. So I think that was a pretty outstanding race because we would go down there, I would womp it the whole way and then run right on the dial.
And I have to say that when we had Matt on the show earlier tonight, he really was very complimentary of you. And, he actually told us this exact story about you guys going down to Beaver Springs and what a fantastic job that you did. And, how he was really impressed overall that when you guys went to Memphis that you ran 2 separate cars. And, that was definitely going to be a disadvantage to you, right? Because you had to hop in somebody else's car. And
yeah, because we didn't really know how it would react. We knew our car would do something different.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right. So.
He's the only one who was third seating. He's here every week, and he is our champion.
Yeah, but Matt's always been there for us because normally me and my friend Brooke, we kind of work together at
Right.
Empire, like, oh, your car slowed down a little bit, so we'll work with it because our cars kind of do the same thing. But when we would travel, Brooke didn't travel much this year because she was focused on the points, and Matt traveled. Matt did that for us, and then we would do that for Matt, and he really helped us like with divisionals this year.
So, I mean, of all the people that you race with out there, I mean, I'm sure you're closer friends with some than others. I mean, that's just the way it's going to go. But, I mean, overall, would you really consider that you're pretty much friends with all of the people that compete in the junior program? Is it?
I haven't really found anyone that's been mean. Like, you get down to the other end, you all shake hands, good race. Some people you can tell they're a little ticked off, but at the end of the day, we all hang out. Like
That's nice.
at Empire, we'll all go get ice creams together. We'll all watch the other races go on.
Yeah, that's cool because this really should be about sportsmanship and teaching you guys, the basics of drag racing, and it's you really do have to be able to get along with other people, and everybody wants to win. I mean, whatever the category is, whatever level, everybody's trying to win. But that's at the same point in time, you have to learn how to be a gracious winner and a gracious loser. So it's really nice to hear that overall that you are all getting along and being good sportsmen at the same point in time.
Well, it looks like they're about ready to start the actual party portion of this. What do you think we get out of here before they start thumping music through this PA system and we get thrown off YouTube?
I say, I see that here. They're dimming the lights, and it's going to get interesting here, I guess, in a moment. But, well, I guess other than your dad, Paige, I mean, who else? I mean, it sounds like the Griffos. I mean, they obviously helped you out by getting you a dragster. I mean, who else would you say is has been a big help to you? That somebody that you would really like to thank overall.
Well, besides like my whole family for being supportive, I'd also like to thank Krause Racing because he gave us like the motor consistent. There's nothing really bad about it. We have a problem, like our jetting or something was off. We called him up. We're like, it's the car. It's missing. He's like, you guys just gotta change the jet. We change it. Phenomenal car. Runs right on. Or my dad can dial it within thousands. It's like.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's good. Okay, Chris, did you have any other questions for Paige before we let her go?
That story about jumping in the car.
Oh, I know.
And
it's
just
incredible.
jumping in and just driving away.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so, is there a likelihood that you'll be in another division this year or no?
They changed the divisions around this year. They're not doing the Memphis or anything. So last year was really good to hit it. But they're actually doing it the whole world or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You hit divisions, and however you finish is how you finish.
Right.
They're not.
There's
I don't think we're going to be doing that. We might go to a couple divisional races here and there that are close by, or like Maryland or something. But me and my dad were talking about going to Canada for a couple races too because they have their Wally races and try to hit a couple of those. But other than that, divisionals, I think they kind of fizzled out.
Same classes at Empire as well? No changes?
Junior A for sure this year. Maybe next year I'm trying to work out my college schedule. And I don't know. We might go in another class. Depends how everything's going.
We'll have to see how the cards fall.
Yeah.
Well, again, congratulations on the championship.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Wonderful
Thank
job.
you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you joining us.
Keep in touch with us and let us know how things are going as we get closer to the season. I'm sure we'll see you this summer.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Congratulations again.
So before the party kicks off, just final thoughts quickly as we wrap things up here at the Empire Dragway Banquet here at the Country Suites in Mount Morris, New York.
Well, I guess, just overall looking forward to a pretty exciting 2017 racing season here and some of the improvements that hopefully we can make. Definitely looking forward to doing more shows.
There's more improvements coming. Wait for those announcements to start breaking.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely more improvements coming. Definitely, like I said, looking forward to doing some more shows and getting some more feedback from some of the people and hearing about some of the improvements at Empire and bringing some. I really am looking forward to potentially bringing some of the live broadcasts from Empire too. That's going to be pretty darn cool.
It's going to be awesome. Welcoming here has been good. We greatly appreciate being invited out to be part of the Empire Dragway banquet. We'll be working more with Empire as we move forward. Tonight's test, so to say, given everything that happened with Finger Lakes 1, insofar has been successful. I know there's been a little bit of music in the periphery. Hopefully it hasn't been loud enough to be picked up. I'm sure it hasn't. But,
I don't think so, but
Pat and everybody up front did a great job putting everything together. I'm ready to call it a wrap, man.
I can't believe it's been
3 hours.
3 hours. That's right. We went on
we
at
went
seven.
at 7.
And quite frankly, I mean, if I had my druthers, I would say, we could stay here easily for another 2 hours, right, interviewing people. And
no doubt.
There's so many people here that I'd love to have on, and we'll just have to get them on the show
We'll get them
as
on the
guests
show.
and get them out of the studio. So.
Yep. We're going to go pack up and go fix a tire.
Yeah, there you go.
And that's going to do it for us here at the Empire Dragway banquet. Thank you so much for everybody that signed on, took a peek, and checked out Final Round Podcast. It is every other Thursday. At this point, it's on fingerlakes1.tv in some way, shape, or form. We'll have more information on that as we move forward. We're going to be off next week, and we will be back the following Thursday. So for Jason Oldfield, all of our guests, everybody here at Empire Dragway, we appreciate you joining us here on this event, and we will see you again real soon when we're back in the studios at Finger Lakes 1.